Alright, we are starting in a few seconds, everybody. Time to change the introduction to 3.5 minutes, because I am not punctual whatsoever. A terrible trend to have, isn't it? Alright, now to hit the transition button. Now you can see my face. Hey guys, I'm still at my parents' house. I scoot in with my chair, and yeah, so I still have the horrible lighting for now. Yeah, I don't know how I'll figure that out once I move back in for, well, not, like, I don't know if it would be, I guess it's permanent? I don't know how it'd be like. Once I'm done with living in my studio, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with the lighting when I move back. But nonetheless, if you guys don't know, hi, I'm Dirk the Red Panda, and this is Minotaur Hotel. We are in the second episode, so we are doing renovations, or, well, we should be starting soon. I got tired and only got through chapter 1. Hopefully we can get through 2, maybe 3 and 4 today. Hoping for the best, so. Yes, I did get my amicus. I didn't want to spoil that yet, but honestly, I did. I wanted to make a Twitter post about it, but, you know. Amicus is back there. Every day I pet him. Make sure to pet your amicus every day. It's very important. But yes, I did get my amicus. The only issue is that he didn't come with his cape or his, like, bracelets. He just came with the pants. So, yeah, I talked to Popper and Press. They're figuring it out. Yeah, they're just like, okay, we'll do it during the next batch, so. Well, we got this figured out. But I don't want you to prolong this if you have school tomorrow, Catherine. Well, then again, I have school tomorrow, so. We're all breaking the rules here in this stream. Alright, so. Yeah, other than that, I'm doing well. Just wanted to get another day's worth of Minotaur Hotel in and just make some progress on it. You know, got a lot going for this update. Or, well, I'm only in the first build still, but there's a lot to come, I guess. So this is gonna be probably one of those series I'll have to do a lot of catching up with before I'm actually in real time. And luckily, since my other VNs at the time, or for now, haven't updated yet, I am luckily in a situation where I can just grind away at this, which it's always a good thing, because then you know, you get some time to be addicted to a certain game if you're really feeling it. But yes, we'll start the reading at 6.5 minutes. Anyway, let's see what's to come. And luckily, my mic and my camera are working, so that's always a great sign. Oh no, I'm running late. 6:30 is past, probably. But we're here. We are starting chapter 2. And we have the tech background, because I am a nerd. Here we go. We're back in this old, decrepit hotel. You're back in the ruined hallway. It stretches into the lobby further into the hotel. Up ahead, something catches your eye. A leather-bound volume. Not too different from the check-in register you found in the reception office, which has been carefully thrown on the floor. Or carelessly. It's been carefully thrown on the floor, like... Just be careful how you throw it on the floor. Just like somebody's just like measuring the trajectory of it all. Oh man. Here we go. They carelessly threw it on the floor. Such barbarians. A cursory look reveals most of its pages have been torn out. But the cover's backside contains something written in the same script from the deed. The glyphs shift and twist under your gaze, marching into place the harder you look. After a few minutes, however, it turns uncomfortable, as if your mind was being drilled by the paper. You take a seat at the lounge's door. You take a seat at the lounge's bar, just a foot away from the green glass shards scattered around over the purple stain. You lose yourself in deciphering the script. Asterian's sentence. Hereby the gods of Olympus sentence the prisoner Asterion to eternal damnation for his meekness and cowardice in the face of adversity. With this sentence his prison is created, a labyrinth born of the gods' ichor. The labyrinth shall welcome lost mortals with nowhere to go. Among them, a jailer will be picked to command and rewrite the realm. The jailer and the labyrinth's mission is to secure the prisoner's eternal torture. Jeez, this is awful. The jailer shall enjoy power and freedom to rewrite the labyrinth as to better enact his vision. Asterion of Crete, adopted son of King Minos, and every drop of his blasphemous blood is hereby sentenced to the labyrinth. By the decree, the god's will is done. Sincerely, Zeus. You obtained the ledger. The ledger lists your obtained items, guests, and additional information. Click the icon in the top right corner of the screen to open it. That's the preferences. Not this. I don't know what's talking about the... Oh, that one. I'm very smart, guys. I'm telling you, I am the smartest person on Earth. And that is a fact that can be not disproven. Ever. Ever. Alright. So we clicked the icon on the top right corner, which is not exactly the top right corner. But, yeah, it is. Whatever. Of the screen to open it. So we clicked on it. You're pulled from your trance by the bang of the door closing down the hallway. The light around you has shifted. You look back to the garden and the sun is already setting. Time passed in a flash, and now the clop of hooves on marble floor echoes through the corridor. Oh my god, I keep forgetting how decrepit Asterion is. Oh, why was... Oh, I feel so terrible for him. The Minotaur enters the lounge. The Minotaur enters the lounge, sees you, and bows. Greet him, of course. He's our senpai, right? Our starving and weak Asterion is senpai. Hello, Asterion. Did you sleep well? I did, Master. I must thank you for allowing me rest. Oh god, I forgot exactly how I did his voice. It's like very kind of like... What was it? Like very strained, but also at the same time try to make it deep? Ugh. It's been too long. I did, Master. I must... Asterian's voice cracked. I did, Master. I must thank you for allowing me rest. That's good to hear. I take it you have no issue with your bath. I did not. Asterion stands up and looks at you directly. I should ask for your forgiveness. I left you waiting without providing a tour of the hotel or its inner workings. That was awfully unfitting of my position as the hotel's keeper. I am at your disposal now, however. There are a few questions eating away at me, if you don't mind. But we can leave them for later if you aren't feeling well. I am well enough to fulfill my duty. What is it Master wishes to know? Well, to start off, how are you feeling? What will you ask Asterion? Might as well ask him how he's feeling first. Well, I'll admit I was a little bit worried about you. How are you feeling? Was the shower enjoyable? The Minotaur shifts his gaze, trying to read your expression and tone. Looking for a tinge of irony, or perhaps malice. I am well. It was quite peculiar showering after all those years. I had forgotten what water felt like. It was fortunate that my wounds were closed. It could have been a painful affair otherwise. For quite a while, I just stood there under the water, thinking and feeling. All of that is to say, yes, I am doing well. It is kind of you to ask. Is that all you wish to know? What will you ask Asterion? How did you make food appear out of thin air? So, about the food. Back there, you just made fruit appear on your hands. It was like the whole world just blinked for a second. What exactly is going on? I am frightfully sorry, my lord. I failed to explain it ahead of time. This realm operates under very peculiar rules. It relates to the oath I swore. Contracts, oaths, promises, all manifestations of will from the master can be made to have binding effect. Laws in this land are self-enforcing, if branded by the Lord's might. The oath I swore, it relates to one ancient piece of law, the statue of Joseph the Merciful. In one of its articles, it allows me to summon food. Under most circumstances, the swearing of the oath would have been a formal event, wherein I would have to read the full statute, but this situation was dire indeed. I'm sorry, my lord. As soon as possible, I shall present you to the statute for your considerations. Thanks. I don't like signing contracts I didn't read. Me signs any contract I don't read. But don't go overexerting yourself. I suppose this isn't a priority right now. Getting you patched up is way more important. Still, that isn't exactly what I asked you about. You can summon food because of the oath, but how can food be summoned like that in the first place? In other words, what kind of place is this? The Minotaur's gaze goes to the floor. His hooves scrape against it. This realm was created to imprison me. The jailer's mission is to keep watch. And for that purpose, the gods saw it fit that matter can be spontaneously created. So the jailer's job would not be interrupted by petty things such as material limitations. Me make all the infinite technology. I can have infinity iPhones. It is, as well, the master's compensation. Being able to create whatever your heart desires out of thin air. That is quite a reward, wouldn't you say? That's right. This is no small power. With some creativity, anyone could make a fortune off of this place. Infinite money. Well, there are a few limitations. Mainly, the realm refuses to make metals such as gold and silver in large quantities. Damn it, no infinite money. Fuck. But previous masters were quite creative. and that did not stop them from amassing fortunes of their own. As keeper, it is my duty to instruct you on this matter. I can show you how to summon materials. I'd appreciate that a lot, but we can leave that for later if it's complicated. I have more I'd like to discuss with you. Very well. What is it the master wishes to know? Well, I wonder what question we'll ask him. What other mythical creatures are there? I'm still a bit shaken up after learning Greek gods are real. Or were? There are a lot of implications to that, you know? For example, I can assume there's an afterlife then. Perhaps. Asterin really just said, perhaps, to us. Oh my god. I was sent to an afterlife after my death. It was called Hades. But that was back then, thousands of years ago. I know not what happened to the gods, or if their realm persists to this day. Neither do I know if the other afterlife realms exist in the first place. Although I do believe that this is the case. I was aware, however, that the worship of the Olympians has long gone out of favor. If Master would entertain my curiosity, is it still so? No one worships them, no. It's a dead religion, that's for sure. Most of you'll find is people studying it during history classes, and some places do use the gods as symbols. That's about it. I see. Then in this regard, nothing changed since I was locked away. There's something I want to know, however. You told me about the gods and other mythological beings. I want to know more about that, if you don't mind. Ah, I see. Yes, that is a question masters of previous times struggled with as well. Despite my thousands of years, I must admit I do not possess complete knowledge about the variety of mythical beings that exist. I know only that of those that passed by this hotel, and of what they were kind enough to share with me. They used a charm to pass unnoticed, as humans. It wasn't always like that. That custom only began a handful of centuries ago. When I was a child, there was no such thing. My true form was plain for everyone to see. And Father Minos made sure I was seen. Regardless, the charms never worked in this realm. I do not know why, but it was always constant. It was quite peculiar back then. Human and supernatural guests mingled together. It was always jarring at first. But after a while, it becomes special. Humans are eager to learn about the unknown, and mythical beings yearn to live without a disguise. Now, back to the 20th century. They had taken to using what was the word again? It was a booklet they carried around. A passport? Oh, so those are the people that were the passport people. I guess they were special. Yes, a passport. They would have it enchanted and would keep it close. Always. It was inconspicuous. Me as I carry my passport everywhere I go. The passport stays on during sex. Got it? but they'd keep multiple charms with them. Jewelry, often, in case they were separated from their documents. Damn it, you ruined my joke, Asterion! Did they make fake passports then? How was that? Oh, I don't think so. I'm sorry that I know not much about it, but I had the impression these booklets were issued by governments. As in, the governments that made the enchanted passports. A few times I was told they had to be registered. It was quite common for mythical beings, even the staff, to be required to report back to their countries for bureaucratic affairs. Fuck, I don't have my Smarties with me. Guess I'll just take a sip of water like a pleb. Yes, I'm drinking my water like this. Are you gonna judge? Or for warfare. Master Jean-Marie was not the only man we lost to the Great Wars. I didn't expect there to be bureaucracy around mythical beings. Indeed, it is a tad peculiar. But I would stress that all of this I learned from previous guests. I never saw it for myself. Before I forget, I found these inside of a safe near the reception. You give Asterion the bundle of passports. Are these the enchanted passports? They don't seem anything out of the ordinary. The Minotaur looks over each of the passports. His brow furrows, and for a second His brow furrows, and for a second, it and his lower lip quivers. Ah, okay. Yes. This is it. I recognize the names. These are the passports. They hated these things. These were their shackles. Which is why they were so eager to stay and work here, in a place where they did not have to hide their true forms. It's not only about their shape, either. It's not always about the shape, it's about the size. There is something else these passports did. It made them easy to forget and go unnoticed. Again, I never witnessed it for myself, but often I was told it was terribly difficult to make. Friends establish relationships, too, when your loved ones are prone to forgetting you ever existed. Well, I guess I have one of those hidden somewhere by accident. Nah, I'm kidding. And yes, I'm still working on my VN. I just need to finish day 4, dang it, which I barely started. Anyway, that sounds rough, to say the least. Theirs must be a lonely existence. Asterion sinks in thought as he flips over the passport's pages. He does not seem to hear you. When he closes the last one, his gaze returns to you with a somber look. That is, more somber than before. Does Master have more questions? I think that's all I have for... I think that's all I had in mind for now. This is a lot to take in. That gods and mythical creatures exist, for starters, and that this place can just create matter out of thin air. Thanks for telling me all that. I'll just need some time to process it all. It is a pleasure to serve. Could I provide Master with a drink? Would that please you? He looks behind you, to the wall covered by dozens of bottles of liquor. Well, I don't think those are safe. I checked a few of them and... yeah, they weren't smelling right. That will not be an issue. I can muster more for master. Very well. Go on. Oh god, the lights are flickering! Ah! The Minotaur walks behind the counter. The world blinks around you, and when you look again, he holds a bottle of whiskey. My man! He walks with a spring in his step, but stops once he sees the purple stain on the floor. Whatever smidgen of chirpiness was on his face is gone. He lowers himself to the floor and runs a hand over the dried-out wine. He tries scraping the dust off the ground, then rubbing his hand on it, to no avail. What's on your mind? The Minotaur speaks without looking up to you. He went all the way, the previous master. Locking me away wasn't enough. He had to kick out all the guests and go as far as breaking the bottles. He knew the wine could heal me. I had one in the infirmary, in case I got hurt and needed help, and one here for my enjoyment. Oh, I hope he didn't break the others as well. It is impossible to willfully summon more. The Minotaur rises up and supports himself on the counter. He summons a rag and goes through the motions of dusting. No matter. Now, what does Masters want? I should tell you up front, the hotel's liquor is quite impressive. Ask where you can find the wine. Ask for a drink. Oh boy, some tough decisions. I mean, I'm a wine person, so... you know what they say, older wine the better. So, let's ask where we can find the wine. Maybe I should save in case this screws everything up. Asterion may be up and walking, but he's still far from being well. He can use the help. You mentioned having more wine bottles. Where are they? I'm sure I can fetch them for you. Asterion looks off to the side, seemingly thinking about your proposal. It is not proper for the keeper to be assisted by the master. I suppose, however, it would... I suppose, however, it would be my duty to take you there regardless. If memory serves me well, there ought to be a bottle in the master's quarters. Oh god, the stairs! Not the stairs! The two of you return to the hotel's lobby. The spiral staircase, now tinged orange by the skylight, remains as welcome as before. The fourth floor has no doors, however. Here, this floor is dedicated to the master and those he allows in. The hotel bends to the master's will. Wish for a door, and it will be done. My power is similar to yours, albeit much weaker. In due time, the hotel shall conform from the ground up to your vision. It barely requires you to focus. Just a passing thought is enough to make the hotel flicker in and out of reality. The door welcomes you. It flickers away after you and Asterion cross its threshold. The living room ahead of you seems to have resisted the damage of time better than the rest of the hotel. It is dusty, and some chunks of the walls show the beginnings of mold. But that is nothing compared to the devastation you saw in the kitchen. Asterion says nothing at first. His gaze seems to be lost in the distance as he walks around inspecting the room. There are lines of wooden carvings on shelves. During the Minotaur's silence, you take the chance to explore it yourself. The living room is a sprawling lounge made to receive guests, both in great number and for intimate get-togethers. Under the sunset's light, the wooden floor colors the room with a soft, warm hue. There's a master bedroom with a vast closet still filled with chores. None you'd use, however. It's a wardrobe pulled straight from the 30s, organized with a tireless devotion. There's also a large office, the kind you would expect from an important executive. Sitting on the desk is a selection of finely decorated fountain pens and a stash of documents, for the most part written in delicate calligraphy. Most of the documents are signed by a Master Jean-Marie, although a handful bear an illegible scribble for a signature. There's a finely furnished bathroom off in a tight hallway to the side of the living room. At the end of the corridor, after a sharp turn, there's a cramped, windowless chamber. It was a handful of remnants of the living room's warmth, albeit muted. The wood's color is faded. The ceiling is a meter lower. There is a little to no furniture. There is, however, an austere bed that looks larger than your typical single. Beside it is a tiny chest of drawers, with a handful of dusty poetry books piled on top alongside more wooden carvings. This room affords privacy, but little else. Asterin is going over to it when you arrive. He cradles every wooden carving in the room, examining them one by one. Many of the carvings depict bulls. He opens one of the books, and a page marker falls from it. He looks down at it, but doesn't bother picking it up. The Minotaur opens a small chest off to the side, and takes out what seems to be a large piece of fabric. He smells it, perhaps hugs it to his chest. His bony snout leaves a stain of blood dust on it. Oh boy. He sighs and shudders. The Minotaur looks back to you, acknowledging your presence for the first time since arriving here. I'm frightfully sorry. I was lost in thought. The floor is the master's quarters. It contains your bedroom, office, living room, and any other installations you wish to add. The room we are in, this, was my bedroom. I serve the hotel, but above all else, I serve the master. It is often considered convenient to have me around, as I can cook and help the master however he sees fit. There were masters who had children, for instance. I would assist in tending to them, providing entertainment and play while the master really rested. Master Jean-Marie was a man of culture. He enjoyed having me play my lyre for him at night. The Minotaur's gaze wanders away again. His hands caress a wooden carving. The wine should be in the kitchen. The two of you go there. This time, there's no purple stain on the floor or glass shards thrown about. The empty bottle is gingerly placed on the counter beside the sink. Asterin shrinks down again. At least he did not damage Master Jean-Marie's carvings. What was that the last bottle? No. I have one last bottle stashed away, and I'm sure it must be intact. Oh, there's no way he learned about that one. It's all the way downstairs. All the way? About 30 floors down. Yes. Worry not, Master. It's getting late already. I can prepare you for a proper meal and dust off your quarters. You may rest for the night. I shall deal with this affair after you've gone to sleep. No, I can't let you do that. You're in no state to go up and down the 30 flights of stairs. Tell me where to find the bottle. While I go down there, you can check over the quarters. If you want to go over the previous master's belongings. For a single moment, you see Asterion looking off to the side, pondering before giving his response. Very well. I obey. The 25th underground floor is much like this one, without doors. You may command the hotel to reveal the way. It's where we've stored things over the centuries. All the way down the corridor there's a wall painting. The bottle should be in front of it. You answer with a thumbs up as you summon the door out. Oh Lord, so many stairs! Once more you're enveloped by sunlight draping from the skylight. Your echoing footsteps have a sonority to them, a twinge of life in this abandoned hotel. Once you reach the ground floor, however, your path becomes darker. Your footsteps now sound shy in front of an oppressive veil. Oh Lord, so many stairs! The 25th floor cannot come soon enough. A plaque on the featureless wall greets you. The door flickers in front of you with a similar eagerness. Oh man, that is a lot of floors. The hallway extends far into the distance, its sides lined with all sorts of objects. Armor sets, furniture, statues, treasure chests full of trinkets from all ages. What do you do? Maybe we should save here and see if this allows us to look at the trinkets first. I am saving everywhere I possibly can, because I am terrible. You take a moment to examine your surroundings. You walk down the hallway, making some stops along the way to take a better look at some of the artifacts and items around you. Among all the ancient artifacts, you occasionally see some more relatively modern items. To your left, you see shelves with an array, as opposed to a vector, of small steam engine models that look right out of a museum. They all have a small bronze plaque with the same signature etched onto it, which you see go through small changes as the year next to it increases and the models become more elaborate. Further ahead of you, you spot dismantled electrical equipment in displays. What looks like early versions of vacuum tubes, copper cables wrapped in crusty insulation, and what might be a voltaic battery. You can barely believe your eyes as you walk by a full-sized, partially assembled trebuchet. You're not sure if the hallway looked this spacious before you walked in front of it. You keep walking, before you get a headache trying to wrap your head around it, and continue searching for the bottle. As you reach the corridor's end, the objects take a sharp turn to what you would expect from a museum on ancient Greece. There's a wall painting Asterion told you about. Right in front of it is a sealed bottle of wine. It is covered in dust. Its label is faded. You obtained a wine bottle. Oh boy, another thing. Off to the side, there's a glass case containing a jagged purple rock in the vague shape of a double-headed axe head. It drips an oily, dark red liquid down the case. The goo has pooled on the case's bottom, wafting an unpleasant, bloody stench. The case is locked by an old padlock. you've got what you came here for. You make your way back upstairs. The setting sun's orange tones color the entire apartment. It turns the suspended dust in the air into thousands of sparkling diamonds. The previous master's carvings stare at you, wide-eyed and beckoning you further into the quarters. The smell of old dust seems so small compared to how sweetly the room welcomes you. If a place could ever be alive, and if it could ever be naked, this is it. The hotel itself embraces you, its intimacy laid bare. Nothing moves and Asterion is nowhere to be seen. Silence reigns, save for a faint hum of life. You leave the wine bottle on the living room table. You delve deeper into your quarters, and the hum grows louder and sharper. It's like breathing, ragged and pinned. The dust visible under the sunlight shudders. The sound is coming from the office. Asterion's standing over the desk, his back to you, sobbing. Your footsteps are not enough to make him aware of your presence. The Minotaur sobs again and again, each one coming from deeper inside of him. They begin meek, hardly more than a snort, but he lays his hands on the desk and curls forward. His vertebrae jut sharply from his deathly thin skin, made more obvious by how he hunches over. He spits out a sob from the depths of his lungs. The dam bursts. He breaks into a wave after wave of grunts and half-muddled screams. He presses his face against the desk and claws at it, leaving the marks in the pristine wood until he falls to the ground, curled up like a child. He sees you then with his tear-drenched eye and ignores your presence. Master or not, you are too small. He curls further into himself, mouth covered by his hands as he lets out another muffled yell. The Minotaur's voice breaks midway through and he goes silent, even if his mouth is still locked in agony. But Asterion looks up to you, aware of your presence, and makes no effort to hide or cower. In fact, he tries to speak, but you can't understand his slurred words, only that his voice has a tone of welcoming. You cross the gap separating the two of you one step at a time. Asterion's eye does not avert from you. You sit by his side, back to the desk, and only then his gaze drops down to the floor into further sobbing. You drape an arm over his shoulder and pull him into you. The Minotaur doubles down on his crying, now muffled by your shirt. His fingers dig into you. They'd hurt were he not so emaciated. You rub the back of his head and let the Minotaur go at his own pace. As the sun sets further, darkening the room, his crying goes quieter and more discreet as well. When all is dark except for the stars shining beyond the window, Asterion's hands relax and he slouches fully onto your chest. He almost seems to be asleep, but you catch his eye looking up at you. Asterion's pacified, but you give him a few more minutes to make sure. His fingers dig at you one last time right as he sighs. You pat him on the back and help him up. He says nothing about what just happened, but accepts your hand. And when you leave the office, he stays close by your side. Back in the living room, you guide Asterion to the sofa. He sits without questioning, but accompanies you with his gaze as you open the wine bottle and bring it over to him. It was just where you said it'd be. Asterion caresses the bottle. Thank you. Cheers. Asterion forgoes using a glass entirely. He leans his head to the side so the wine doesn't drip from his exposed jawbone and drinks straight from the bottle. He savors his first gulp. He sighs, leaning his head back, and lets out a groan as his entire body relaxes. Then he returns to the bottle, this time drinking in earnest. From the corner of his eye, he looks at you. A tinge of shame spreads on his face as a drop or two of wine drip from his exposed jaw. It doesn't take long before his arms start shaking, however, for his emaciated musculature, holding the position for long is a challenge. You stand and help him hold the bottle up. It's like bottle feeding a calf. Asterion looks up to you with a sharpened gaze. He does not reject your help, but his brow frowns and his eye locks onto you in petulance. Barely a minute passes before he ceases the bottle and goes back to holding it up himself. He wastes no time and drinks the entire contents of the bottle without stopping, going so far as to shake the bottle to get the last drops. Wow. Asterion leans back onto the sofa, a half smile painted on his face. Thank you so much for the wine, Master. I feel better already. It won't be long now before it starts taking effect. Don't mention it. It was nothing. Is that so? Master, if it is not impertinent of me, would you answer a few questions? Sure. I don't see how that could be a problem. I wish to know about the war. How did it end? War? Which war? The Second World War. The conflict between the Allies and the Axis. France was occupied. How did it end? Does France exist still? Yes, it does. France is doing fine. The Allies won the war. A lot of stuff has happened since then. You briefly tell him France's history after the Second World War, especially the aftermath of the war. Oh, I'm so relieved to hear that. I've spent all those years locked away thinking about it. Master Jean-Marie talked so many times about France. Paris this and that, but also about the countryside. The fields of lavender, the fragrances, the vineyards, all sorts of wine. Master Jean-Marie could never go a meal without a glass. He grew up in a village near Bordeaux, yes. He always said the village's wine was the best, period. Master Jean-Marie fought in the Great War, too. He found his way to the hotel as a guest himself, a shell-shocked young man fresh off the battlefield. He inherited the deed from the previous master, and his rule over the hotel was a sight to behold. He was a very kind, had a preference for bringing in victims of war. It wasn't easy caring for so many amputees and shell-shocked men, but it was worth it. He loved it here, but I suppose he loved France the most. I couldn't dissuade him from returning to home to liberate his country. He died in 1944. I felt it right when it happened. I felt the bullet going through my head in the middle of the night. 1 week later, the next master arrived. Jean-Marie left the will, giving the hotel's deed to his brother, Master Clement. Clement wasn't as bad at first. He was very eager to please, to be of use to the guests. But there was something in him. Agreed, I suppose. To merely be liked wasn't enough, you see. He and Master Jean-Marie differed greatly. Jean-Marie had a vision to bring comfort to those affected by war. Clement, on the other hand, didn't want to be liked, but worshipped. He had his eyes on the guest, a woman who held his mind in the palm of her hand. I can only believe it went badly. And so he... Well, you saw what he did to me. The guests are gone, and the hotel has been left to rot. Is the guy we met Master Clement? Or is that just some random guy that got it from Clement? I can't imagine like that old man just being like, yeah, I lived during World War II, and now it's like 2020. I am confused. And no, I don't have any Smarties, so I'm just gonna take another sip of water. Yes, bubble tea is heaven, though. Amen to that. Anyway, I had glimpsed the beginnings of madness in his eyes. I am no fool. It was clear he was no sane man, but I hoped he'd be harmless. I believe I met the Clement you speak of. Is this a good thing to say? Yeah, screw it, we're gonna save here. Let's see how crazy things go if we do say something. I believe I met this Clement of you speak of. He gave me the hotel's deed, talked a bit about himself, said he squandered his one chance at doing something good. He's senile now, can barely talk right. He was looking for someone to take over the place because none of his kids would do it. When I checked the deed, it all seemed like gibberish too. I could only believe he wasn't thinking right and gave me some used napkin. He said he had done bad stuff during his life, but I never imagined it would be as this bad as what I saw here. Asterion's brows furrowed and his eye wanders. He twiddled his thumbs while he spoke. He's still alive, then. He closes his eyes, wrinkling his visage in anger. Asterion looks up to the ceiling. His voice is relaxed now, almost soothing, but it carries a spike of sobriety. Master, if once again you would accept it, may I ask a question? This one, however, may be out of place for me as a keeper. You give him permission. The labyrinth was created to torture me as punishment for my crime. But over the years, the human masters chose to impose a different will onto this realm. It began with a young man who took pity on me, and over the generations, it became a haven for the lost. Each master had a vision for it. We had a good run, and a few good centuries ever since we started. Until, as you saw, Clement came along. I wish to know your intentions. That is awfully out of place of me, as the prisoner. You are my captor, and I shall obey whatever your will may be. Nonetheless, I wish to have my impertinent question answered, if it isn't much. Is it your will to carry on with the hotel's mission? To offer sanctuary to those lost and with nowhere to go? I should let you know, before you answer, that I am used to suffering. I've been through a lot worse than what you saw today. If your will is to torture me, like Master Clement did, then you need not pretend. However, you accepted my oath and took me into your service, and now you've treated me with kindness. I would believe then that you are not like him. So tell me, is your wish to uphold the hotel's mission to provide respite to those in need? Be honest, if you will. My servitude to you remains regardless of your choice, as I have none myself. I wish to be a good master to the hotel and you. Of course I'm gonna uphold the hotel's mission. And let's see how long we've been going. About an hour. We're gonna once again pause at the 59-minute mark. Oh geez, we just passed the 59-minute mark. And once again, 3 to 5 minute break, you know. Go take a piss if you need it. Somebody asked me if they could use my character from Ocean Avenue, my main character. I mean, yeah, I guess, like, as long as you're not claiming it as your own. Like, you know, if you just want to do, like, you know, yeah, something that has the character doing something or whatever, like, that's cool. Like, you know, it's like you can draw, like, characters from Echo or Minotaur Hotel or whatever. It's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, you could draw them if you want, like, doing whatever. I mean, yeah, that's actually kind of flattering for me to hear. Dirk, the new hotel master, offers everyone in the chat room free drinks. And din-dins, yes. Everybody gets a free drink here and 10% off the next night. Yes, food and beverages, that's what I talk about a lot. The main character's name? It's Evan. E-V-A-N. Yeah. And then somebody asked me earlier about if I'm going to play after class. And unfortunately, that's on indefinite hiatus. I don't think I am. I just got other novels in the run-in and just, I don't know, just don't have the same interest towards it. I definitely recommend people like Vlad, who does it on his channel. Vlad Lewid. He's not here tonight, but he was here the other night. But yeah, I would definitely say go check out his channel if you want to see After Class. I don't know who else does After Class, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I haven't really found a reason to get back into it, but it's still a good VN. I would say, like, yeah, sometimes you just feel like you're just not vibing with the novel on stream, or you're like, you know, sometimes you just move on to other things. Yes, stay 5 nights and pay full price for a 6th. What a deal. Indeed. Alright, I'm gonna give you guys like 30 more seconds, and then we'll start. At the 1 hour and 2 minute mark. Just go stretch. Yeah, it kind of gives me those Echo vibes with kind of the horror stuff. So, yeah, we're gonna be back to reading now, but yes, the Echo vibes, man. I get the creepy vibes indeed. But hopefully things are for the better here, because I wish to be a good master to the hotel and to Asterion. I didn't know what I was getting into when I accepted Clement's deed. A lot has happened in a single day, and I couldn't have imagined any of this from his ramblings. But yes, I intend to uphold the hotel's mission now. I want to be a good master to the hotel and to you. I'm not trying to trick you, but what you've told me, or by what you've told me, I'd have no reason to. Maybe it's hard for you to believe me right now, but I mean it. Asterion does not answer at first, Only his deep breathing cuts the room's silence. It's been so long. I don't know for how many years I was locked away. I must admit, the mere thought of asking gives me chills. Master, can you imagine? For centuries, I've been tending to this hotel. It was my mercy, what saved me from torture and gave me purpose. It was hard work, and not all masters have been kind over the centuries. But it was wonderful nonetheless. I enjoyed every moment of it. And then, Master Jeanbury died. I could have done more to try and stop him. I should have. Then he came, Clement. I am used to pain, but I had grown accustomed to having people, a mission, a purpose. Being locked away didn't hurt half as much as having my guests kicked out. Today, you freed me, took me into your service, and now you tell me to wish to be a good master. To the hotel, and to me. Allow me to speak frankly. I'm afraid of you. Terribly so. You were my jailer. Over the centuries, I grew more comfortable with enjoying my masters. But after Clement, it's all come back to me. I'm so afraid of what you can do to me at the hotel. There's no choice but to obey your every command. I'm so sorry for saying this. It was profoundly out of place for the keeper to address the master in such a way. I suppose that, even if I'm afraid of you, I've lost my fear and pain in overstepping boundaries. All that said, despite my fear, I find myself wanting to believe you. Asterion gets up from the sofa and walks up to you. He's clearly tipsy, stumbling about as he approaches. The Minotaur kneels before you. I wish dearly for your words to be true. I am not afforded the choice on whether or not I shall obey you. I am a prisoner. But if indeed your words are true, if your heart is truly set on being a good master, then I shall follow you. Not out of duty, but out of want. And were I ever allowed true freedom, I would remain by your side. I swore to serve you, and now I swear to follow you, for as long as your word holds true. He looks up to you. The room is dark, lit only by moonlight coming through the window, but you can see a glimmer in the Minotaur's eye. Hug Asterion. Aw. You pull him from his kneeling position into a hug. He is light, barely heavier than a child. In your arms, he is stiff and cold. But just as your hands stroke his back, he returns the gesture and rests his muzzle on your shoulder. He sniffles once, twice, and presses his face into your neck. Thank you, master. He breathes in deeply, as if learning your scent. Night quickly settles. The hotel has no electricity, but you can do with the candles. Your shadow and Asterion slither on the walls, trembling alongside the flickering flames. The master's quarters are filled with the velvety sounds of life. Breathing, footsteps, furniture creaking are under you. From outside, a passerby would see this ruined hotel with a single candle lit window. If he perchance tried exploring it, he'd only find unending hallways of black and white marble, tiles echoing with the rustling of his clothes. He could seek out the comfort of this candle-lit room, but would never find it, locked away as it is behind a doorless wall. Silence drips back over the two of you. More often than not, Asterion is turned towards you, following it with his gaze. Just when you realize how hungry you are, he summons a humble feast for you. Fruit, cheese, water, even a regular bottle of wine. He turns his back to you to set the table. He stumbles a bit, and a few apples roll off to the ground. You catch him giving you a sideways glance. His nostrils flare under his nervous breathing. Asterion ceases. His back broadens as he breathes in, and then his shoulders slouch forward with his exhale. He gazes back at you, as if trying to say something. And after a few seconds, he returns to setting the table. His tail flicks behind him, perhaps even with some chirpiness. When dinner is ready, he presents it to you with a half smile on his lips. Your candlelit dinner is simple and uneventful. Any offer to have Asterion eat alongside you is brushed off with a shake of his head. It's a long, deliberate movement. His single ear whips to and fro beside his head. You ask him if there's any other way to restore the hotel's electricity. There is, yes. We must light the hotel's hearth, and for that we must use a special object. It has a set of bronze mirrors that focus sunlight. It generates a pure flame. It will bring the entire hotel back to life. Shortly after, with nothing else to do for the night, the both of you find rest in your respective rooms. Are we going on a voyage? Oh no, we're going to Hades. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, this is from Asterion's perspective. Oh man, this is gonna be tough. Oh boy. Let me just check timing first. The Minotaur dreams. Before Athens and Sparta, there was Crete, where Zeus was born and raised. Wild goats left their cloven marks on its slopes, carved out of the cool magma from the age of the Titans. Its soil, rich and hard, bore the promise of prosperity. Crete was a cradle, safe and fertile for early mankind, as it was for Zeus, first of the Olympians. His son, Minos I, made his way there and became its founder and king. When death came for him, Minos was made judge of the dead. His lineage bore many kings for Crete, the prosperous cradle of man. There was another who carried the name of Minos, a man who made a pact with Poseidon, god of the sea. From the foamy waters, the Olympians sent a white bull to signal his favor, and in turn the man promised to sacrifice it. But Minos took for himself that which was meant for the gods. For his hubris, Poseidon cursed his household. His wife, Pasiphae, was struck with lust for the beast and ordered the legendary craftsman, Daedalus, to craft a hollow heifer. Pasiphae took the bull's lurch and became pregnant with its child. So was born the Minotaur. Persephone's infamy survives. Crete fell in favor of Athens, which in turn was dragged away by Rome, which was too consumed by time. But Pasiphae's disgrace remains, much like the tale of the cannibal himself, or the cannibal half-breed she birthed survives. But for the Minotaur, she was the mom. and she called him Asterion, her starry-eyed son. He drank from her breast like any boy, and he played with his siblings even if his visage betrayed the sin which begat him. The Minotaur dreams of a vast field of white asphodel flowers where he'd go with his sister, Ariadne, holding her fingers, where they would sit by a tree and he'd nap with his head on her thighs. Asterion dreams of Crete, the palace of Knossos where he was raised, and of his inescapable fate, the labyrinth crafted by Daedalus, where he met his end. Before the first hairs of a beard would have sprouted were he fully human, he was carted off to a stone labyrinth deep within one of Crete's valleys. The exit was blocked off, and he was only left with an axe he could barely raise. A decade passed before a visitor came. Asterion could no longer think. Language had escaped his mind altogether. So lonely had he become. His visitor, Theseus, had crossed the sea for the Minotaur's head. The hero expected a battle, but found only a beast deserving of mercy. Asterion did not reject the hero's pity. At last he dreams of the asphodel meadows. It's a mercy. It's the end of his suffering. But he awakens to the labyrinth again. He jumps from dream to reflection, masters Jean-Marie and Clement, the cold room, the new master, freedom from the darkness, food, and wine. Asterion grasps the dusty sheets. It's been decades since he's slept on a bed. He feels no bed sores on his back. Instead of the cold room's stench, there is only the slightly moldy smell of his old room. His lips, half bowl, half skeletal, threaten to curl into a smile. But doubt eats away at him, churns in his stomach. The Minotaur unceremoniously rises and opens the closet. No matter what comes next, he must work, and then work some more. While he checks his garments, he mumbles an old poem from memory. You came, and so did well to come. I longed for you, and you brought fire to my heart, which burns high for you. Oh god, look at him, those are some baggy clothes on him. These old clothes don't fit him. The mirror makes it clear how much of a disgrace he is. The gaping, fleshless hole in his skull makes his ichor bubble and threaten to burst from his mouth. But he's less of a disgrace than he was the day before. And for the last 80 years, there is some mercy in that. He forces a half smile and goes out. As soon as he steps out, however, his ear flicks. He catches a distant tune. Chirpy, one could say, even joyous. It is faint but unmistakable. The smile disappears from his face. Okay, now we hit chapter 3. The Foreman. Just gonna save, just to have progress. Ah, come on. Save. There we go. Chapter 3. Dust diamonds float across the room, suspended in time. Merciless daylight pierces the windows. Your mouth is dry, your eyes red. The room is humid and growing hotter under the desert sun. Just outside, you hear the clopping of hooves. Very faint, but noticeable, as if a certain Minotaur was trying and failing to be quiet. Your phone, now about to run out of battery, says it's 6 a.m. You get up and go out to face the day. Good morning, Master. I hope you slept well. Asterion, what are those clothes you're wearing? It's what I used to wear. It may be a tad big right now, but that won't last. It will be back to my old shape before you know it. I thought it was inappropriate enough to have spent a whole day naked in your presence. So, this morning, I set out to clothe myself. Do you like them? Take another sip. Do I like Asterion's clothes? Oh, we could go for something more modern. Why not? Make him look cool, make him look hipster. Asterion the hipster. How about something more modern? I think you look good. Sure. But those clothes are a bit old. How about wearing something more modern? I mean, we could just summon food and water here, right? Surely I could get you some clothes too. Of course, Master. Just command and the hotel will bend to your will. The hotel flickers around you and its reality rewrites itself. You picture a shirt you could see yourself wearing. It is a simple task. Something self-aware and fascinating. Out of nowhere, a bundle appears in Asterion's hands. He goes away for a minute to try it out. So, this is what people wear nowadays? It seems oddly casual to me. But Master's will is my command. Oh my god, I hate it and I love it. Class Asterion. Oh no. Oh my god, this is like Java. No, not Java. This is like Python. Oh god, it hurts. Self.this, self.close. Oh my god, this is like so self-aware. This is like actually... This is breaking the fourth wall for me. Oh my god, I love it. Oh, this is so Python. I love it. It is quite comfortable. I like it. It is not as sharp, but... Yes, I do like it. Thank you. Ah, yes. Every tech person ever wears jeans and a t-shirt. That's every tech person ever. Me looks at myself who's not even wearing the jeans, just wearing shorts. The other clothes were better. Screw you, I like them. Asterion class. This is the Asterion class, damn it. And he honestly looks like somebody who would wear that shirt with his stature. Like, no offense, but I would prefer C, but this will suffice. Nice. Anyway, this is kind of fun. I mean, I bet he'll get back into his fancier clothes for formal occasions, but it's kind of fun to have casual clothes, isn't it? Shortly after, Asterion summons a simple breakfast for you. Bread, cheese, and fruit. It is all he can offer now, seeing as the kitchen still doesn't have working equipment. You take a seat while Asterion stands still with his back to the wall, looking at you. So, what do we have to do today? Any chores?
There's one, but it is not something Master ought to worry about. The trinket I mentioned last night. The one which can light a pure flame. If Master so wishes, I can search for it, and then we shall be able to restore the hotel.
But I can help. It's no trouble. It's not like I have anything else to do while you're busy. The ellipses are coming in wild today. Anyway, ellipses.
I obey the Master's will.
Silence hangs around you. The air is heavy as Asterion directs his gaze at you and the food on the table. This meal of fruit, cheese, and bread is simple. One could say it is bland and boring. But the Minotaur looks at it with a fervor fitting of how thin he is. Saliva drips from his half-exposed jaw. He does not notice as the first drops fall to the floor, but once it starts seeping onto his chin's fur, he slaps his own cheek to cover the wound. His eye goes wide as he realizes what had just happened. Asterion looks to you, frightful of your reaction. It is a sorry sight. His gaze conveys a sense of dread. It would seem he fully expects you to be angry at his appalling behavior. Wen is back at it again with the jokes. That one was just too good, but I feel like it's just too wrong to say. Anyway. You seem hungry, Asterion. Aren't you going to eat? I don't mind sharing a meal with you.
It was improper for the servant to eat with the Lord. Master need not worry about me. I'll feed you after you are done.
Is that how the previous masters treated you?
Yes, that has been our custom ever since. For many centuries, shall we say. Master Jean-Marie in particular was quite strict with it. He appreciated order and hierarchy. In truth, he would have been appalled had he seen my behavior yesterday. Walking around naked, depending on the master for assistance. He was kind, but strict. And at times, he would punish my subordination quite harshly. After all, how else was I supposed to know that what I did was wrong? But even then, he was among the kinder masters.
Is that really necessary? Couldn't he just talk with you?
He believed otherwise. Nonetheless, he had no qualms with treating me well when I exceeded his expectations.
The Minotaur shifts on his hooves and looks down. His eye grows duller.
He would pet me at times, scratch my chin behind my ears. He could be affectionate.
Wait, is his... Oh my goodness, I'm starting to notice his things are growing back. His face is starting to grow back. Whoa. Isn't that crazy, man? Oh man, he's starting to get better.
I enjoyed the time with him. I did. He was a fine master for the hotel. It flourished under his rule. That is what matters. I am happy as long as the hotel is doing well, fulfilling its purpose of providing respite to those in need. It is, as I said, being locked away did not hurt nearly as much as seeing the people and the place abandoned. Whether the master treats me well or not, ultimately it matters not. I was sentenced to eternal suffering, and to merely exist as I do now better than I could have ever hoped for. So, I liked Master Jean-Marie. He was a good man. It is not my place to comment upon the Master's actions. Master Jean-Marie would have been furious had he had heard this conversation. I suppose I have been awfully chatty today, have I not? I am sorry for troubling the Master.
You are not bothering me. I want you to be more about you, well. Well. You are fine company too. I wish you'd sit and share the meal with me. But since that's not something you are willing to do, I enjoy hearing you talk.
It is not my place to comment upon your actions, my lord. But with your permission.
You nod to the Minotaur. Asterion says nothing more. After you are done with your meal, the Minotaur retreats to the kitchen to wash the dishes. Only afterwards does he eat. He sits on the floor, cross-legged, and eats what remains of the food he summoned you. Even though the kitchen is nothing like the cold stone cell in which you met, the air of despondency which surrounds Asterion is so infectious that it almost appears the same. You watch him take his meal of bread and cheese, slowly, painstakingly, as though the very sensation of eating was somehow foreign to him after innumerable decades left to starve. Since he has only half a face, you can see a cross-section of every motion as he bites, chews, and swallows his meager meal, trying his best to find an angle which affords him the dignity of not exposing himself any further. Caught as he is between the shame of meeting your eyes, the impropriety of turning to avoid you, and the embarrassment of letting you see the inside of his mouth as he eats. He struggles briefly before resigning himself to the lattermost option. Unsure how to further rouse him from his melancholy, you simply allow yourself to share the silence. Awkward though it may be. For several minutes, the only sound that you can hear is your own breathing, as well as the occasional splat when the Minotaur misjudges how much room he has to work with and some half-chewed food falls out through the skeletal side of his maw. However, shortly after Asterion chokes down the last morsel of cheese, a sudden sound snaps from... However, shortly after Asterion chokes down the last morsel of cheese, a sudden sound snaps you both from the shared isolation. You can hear a flute playing from outside the apartment, piping away a blithely chipper tune. Asterion's ear flicks. He looks up to you, notices you heard it too, and freezes. Paleness creeps up his face. Drops of sweat fall from his brow as bits of saliva leak from his half-destroyed mouth. What's that? The Minotaur starts shaking. Please don't send me out to the valley. I beg of you. I'm sorry for not mentioning it earlier. I was going to. But I was so afraid. The torturer is down in the valley and will try to bring me out. Please don't send me out. It takes a while to calm the Minotaur, but eventually he takes you to the source of the hauntingly chirping song, all the way down the spiral staircase, to the very depths of the hotel. Asterion follows closely behind you, even if, in theory, he should be the one guiding ahead. The song grows louder as you go down. It is carried upwards by a draft coming all the way from below. Oh, did not expect this. The bottom floor is bare rock. A vaguely circular gallery with a single exit leading out to the valley. So far, the entire hotel, even if dilapidated, has only given you the impression it was lovingly built. It was not the case for this area at its lowest point. It was precariously carved out of the rock and left behind with an active distaste and carelessness. The sunlight pouring from outside is harsh to your eyes, accustomed as they are to the darkness of the spiral staircase. In contrast, the song has a jolly touch to it, and it continues to throw Asterin into a nearly panicked state. He is there, the foreman of the labyrinth. He is called Argos. He'll hurt me if I go out, but he can't harm the master. Oh, so this is Argos. Oh, maybe I should have put him on the list for March Madness this year. Oh boy. The valley is laid out before you, painted in broad strokes of vivid orange balanced out with the blue and golden hues in the sky. It is arid, but there is vegetation here. It is actually a soothing scenery compared to the thoroughly lifeless desert around the hotel. The wind even has a tinge of an early morning humidity. It would be no surprise finding some dew lingering in the bushes. It is quite peculiar. The valley seemed devoid of life when you looked down at it from the hotel's lookout. But up close, it is quite different. Just ahead are two rows of marbled statues, each one standing 4 to 5 meters tall, and a single statue of a woman pointing the sword in her hand at the hotel's entrance. The song comes from the statue. You look back to Asterion. You can barely make out the blue flame in the cave's darkness. Praise the Olympians. The bones show the truth. A new master is indeed upon us. A gray hand grasps the statue's shoulder, and then a serpentine shape emerges and coils around the woman's neck. Oh god, there he is. The wait has been long, my good lord. Oh, how I've anticipated this day, when a human would again rise to fulfill the mission bestowed by Athena. I've spent decades lying here, in this valley as interesting as a dung heap, ever since Master Clement left this realm. All by my lonesome. It is as the epic said, servants never do their work when the master's hand is no longer over them. For Zeus takes himself the goddess out of a man and he makes a slave out of him. Without a master, the Minotaur has failed his duties. The mighty hotel is in disrepair, and the valley's entries have outright vanished. There's no work to do if the master's not around, you see. Only I remains waiting. But that shall soon change enough. I feel the earth stirring beneath the statues. Before you know it, the old kin of the gods will be among us once more. Now, my good master, do you know your most faithful follower's name? Has the Minotaur informed you of my pedigree? Master has not offered me a greeting, nor a word of appreciation. So I can only assume the old bull neglects his duties again. You're about to speak up when he interrupts you and continues with his speech. Your face says it all. Very well. Let me introduce myself. I am Argus Panopetis,
Watcher of the heifer, worshipper of the Olympians. My pedigree is unmatched. I was born from the labyrinth itself, and there is no beast capable of evading my tracking. Nor any relic for that matter. The snake holds a metal object under his arm. A set of bronze mirrors. Oh my, master, my eyes are up here. Your gaze would have me believe my form has caught your attention. Truly, I'm a fine specimen, am I not? Or perhaps you are interested in this fine trinket I scavenged. It is a relic from ancient times. It focuses the sun's light into a single beam, generating a pure flame fitting it for an offering. It is called the Mirror of Hestia. That's the goddess of the earth. Keep her appeased, and her blessing will tend to this realm. I found it here in this alley quite a while ago. Discarded but not destroyed. I reckon Master Clement threw it off the cliff before his departure. He knew of the mayor's value. Surely he intended to cause harm. I know for a fact this trinket here holds quite the importance up there in that hotel you have. You see, without this it will remain in a state of disrepair. Only these little bronze dishes can light its sacred hearth. Perhaps it is Master's desire to possess such a thing. No. It would be my pleasure to be of use. Such is my function, to serve the Lord of our realm. I shall gladly consider offering it to you, if only Master realizes a very simple request of mine. It is trivial, insignificant. I merely wish to have 2 minutes with the Minotaur, right here in the valley. Order him to come out and stay for 2 short minutes. I shall not lay a finger on him. That I promise you. I merely wish to become reacquainted with the prisoner.
What do I do, man? I am so screwed. Not that one. Save. What do I do, man? I am so scared. Ah! Oh, man. Argo somewhere else. Even better yet. Argo, fuck yourself. I learned that from the Argo movie. Argo's no swiping. What do I do? Should I feel like we have to refuse the offer just for Asterian's sake, but God, I just want that freaking beam of metals or whatever. We don't negotiate with snakes. The second one. Alright, so seems like we're gonna refuse the offer. I refused. Thanks, Lyde. And hello, Lyde. Thanks for coming and joining us. Didn't get to say hi to you earlier. But yes, I enjoy your readings and yeah, looking forward to what's to come. We're gonna refuse the offer. No deal! I'm afraid I can't do that.
Now why would that be? Has the Minotaur slandered my good name? How low of him. They say a coward's liver is pale. Perhaps one day I shall confirm it with my own eyes. Regardless, I would have Master know that I am merely a pious follower of the old ways. There is no reason to doubt my character. Assuming, that is, you'd hold dear the word of the 12 Olympians. My duty is simple. I assist the Master in fulfilling his God-given task of enacting the Minotaur's punishment. He was, after all, sentenced to eternal damnation. The lords of old were true heroes. They had the iron fist to do what the gods required. But then came the later lineage of weak-willed degenerates with sacrilegious ideas, offering mercy to the damned. Such childish silliness. That one Master Clement, I'd say he was a welcome return to form, but so uncreative. Merely locking the prisoner in a room scarcely compares to the might of olden times. Humans have grown so fully soft of the millennia. Humans have grown awfully soft over the millennia. It was a sorry sight. It pains me to think of the heritage of Theseus, Heracles, and Odysseus is wasted. Heroes of old had no hesitation. Heracles' aim was true. With an arrow coated in Hydra's blood, he cleaved Gerion's skull, the monster of the Red Desert. Silver-tongued Odysseus, hero of Ithaca, blinded by Cyclops, Polyphemus with a stake and bathed his palace in blood. I actually have the Odysseus book here, if anybody wants to read it with me. Anyway, back to character. And last, but not least, Theseus beheaded the Minotaur with Crete's sacred labrys. Time and time again, Athena's heroes prevailed over Poseidon's bestial descendants. Good Master. The triumph of civilization, of mankind, over chaos. To this day, we honor Athena's and mankind's triumph here in this glorious realm. The Minotaur was sentenced to damnation, you see, and torturing him is the act of divine worship. Perhaps it is difficult for you to comprehend, fresh as you are in the labyrinth, sorry, I apologize. Suffice it is to say, this whole thing, the hotel, is a preservation of the Olympians' will. It was not Athena's wish to bring about mercy to the Minotaur, nor was it her intention that this prison realm to be used for leisure. Oh, you humans are frightfully gifted with ingenuity. Those weak-willed masters of centuries past corrupted this fine land into a den of degeneracy. All of it accompanied by abusing the laws of the realm. But who can play this game, mind you? If humans will make contracts to push us further from the gods, then I have the proposals for the master which will bring us closer. In fact, I have a contract for you right here. I can only hope you'll see soon enough that the Minotaur you protect is a coward, one who brought about the fall of his land and the end to his lineage. He deserves no mercy, master.
Argos returns to playing his flute, and the song washes over the valley like a refreshing rain. He closes his eyes and takes his time, as if insulting your presence. The pelt he wears sways with the wind. You hold your ground, looking up to the snake atop the statue. You are not used to dealing with people this difficult in your line of work, and believe me, I have dealt with a lot of difficult people when it comes to reffing soccer matches. Oh boy, there are some difficult people. At least, not directly. You feel like you're out of your element trying to negotiate with the snake. What do you do? Guess I'll say nothing. You hold your tongue. After he finishes his song, he looks down to you again.
Well, what is it? You want the mirror? I made you an offer. Give me 2 minutes with the heifer and I'll consider giving it to you. If you will not take it, I have no reason to deal with you. I may serve the labyrinth's mission, but I am not bound to your will. I need not follow your demands. However, if the master will not take my first offer, I suppose there is one thing I want that may be palatable to you. You see, my good master, I am an entity of the labyrinth. This earth begot me. I am born from the divine. But even I have needs. With the previous masters, I've had fine arrangements, which have turned into fruitful partnerships. Even if we disagreed on this whole hotel thing. Perhaps I should cut to the point, eh? I shall offer you a contract. It is exactly what it would seem to be. A piece of parchment setting down the rules and effects. You see, master, I may be half divine, but I need food and water. For decades now, I've scavenged this land because Master Clement left without negotiating his terms with me. The contract is clear. You will bequeath me a fragment of your power so I may summon food, water, and shelter. I'm tired of living on this barren land. As payment for your mercy, I shall give you this divine artifact, used to light the holy flames of this herb. I'd say it's quite a fair exchange. You will have your comfort lair, and so will I. Save for Clement, whose reign was frightfully short, all other masters have signed this term. I've been useful to them all, as I shall be for you, and you for me. We can be good, gentlemanly neighbors. The contract also has a non-aggression clause. I shall not hurt you. You shall not hurt me. It is a self-enforcing agreement. We will both find ourselves unable to break it. The laws here, you see, apply themselves. Contracts are very powerful. On the off chance one of us somehow breaks one of their terms, then our pact is terminated. I lose the powers bequeathed to me, and your hotel's hearth will go out. The trinket reverts back to my ownership. It is a most fair agreement, I'd say.
Argos hands the parchment to you. It reads, "This document binds the master of the labyrinth, the snake known as Argos Panoptes, henceforth referred to as the Foreman, together in the agreement. Article 1. The master leases to the Foreman the authority to summon food, water, shelter, and furniture for use however he sees fit, including for the benefit of the cultivation of crops and raising of animals. In return, the Foreman leases the Mirror of Hestia for the master's use however he sees fit, including for the benefit and maintenance of the structure known as the Hotel, as established in previous contracts. Article 2. The master and the leasee shall refrain from beginning. Article 2. The master and the leasee shall refrain from bringing harm to the other, directly and indirectly, by means of including but not limited to violence, incentivizing or rewarding third parties towards aggression against the other, sabotaging structures, poisoning food and water, among others. Article 3. The master is forbidden from directly Article 3. The master is forbidden from directly and indirectly interfering with the full enjoyment of the Foreman's rights granted under this contract. The Foreman is similarly forbidden from bringing harm to the hotel. Article 4. The master is allowed to conduct inspections on the Foreman's accommodations, save for the Foreman's personal quarters, whose access is forbidden. The Foreman is forbidden from conspiring against the master and shall not use the rights granted by this contract to bring him harm. The master and Foreman are symmetrically bound this article, including but not limited to not using Hestia's mirror to bring harm to the Foreman. Article 5. The contract is self-enforcing. If any of its articles are broken, then possession of Hestia's mirror reverts to the Foreman and any flame lit by the mirror is put out. At the same time, the Foreman loses the rights transferred by the contract, and any and all structures summoned by him cease to exist after a 10-minute interval to allow for evacuation. Must be a fun time. Article 6. The self-enforcing contract is made effective at the moment of its signing, and remains valid during the master's reign and until the following master acquires the hotel's deed. By the will of the master, to whom the Olympian's reign over the realm has granted, this contract is established. Will I sign the contract? Shoot, where's my pen? I don't see any problems with it. I read all the words, and they all sound pretty good to me. And unless anybody here contests, I am going to agree to the terms. I am going to agree to the terms and conditions. Just need to look for a pen. Where the heck's my pen? Oh, got my back. Oh, jeez, my back. Oh man, I feel so old. Frick. I forgot to pet the Amicus plushie. Sorry, Dirk. Sorry, other Dirk. I'm bringing over the Amicus plushie. My pen. Where the hell's my pen? No! Pens! There's no pens! I swear to God, there's no pens! Well, that was a terrible idea. No! It got disconnected. There it is. I got it! And I have Amicus right here with me. Amicus is gonna sign for me. Won't you, buddy? Won't you sign for me? Such a good emperor. Still haven't taken his tag off. I don't know why. Guess in case I want to know who this Amicus belongs to. Say hi to Amicus, everybody. Okay, so a lot of people are saying contest. Maybe I should go back and see what Article 4 is. Okay, Article 4. The master is allowed to conduct inspections on the foreman's accommodations, save for the foreman's personal quarters, whose access is forbidden. Aspiring against... The master and foreman are symmetrically bound to this article, but including but not limited to not using... to bring harm to the foreman. I don't know, man. Amicus, what do you think? Do you think we should contest this contract? You're very good at politics, so you would be really good at helping me negotiate this. Don't you? God, I love this boy. So huggable. Ah, just squeeze him. Oh, apparently the foreman can enter the hotel. I guess. I mean, that's all I see from Article 4. It's not saying that he can enter, but it's not saying that he can't. Oh, so he can go inside the hotel. Symmetrically bound. Oh my gosh, math is so fun. We're gonna contest its terms. There's something you suspect about this contract. What do you think it is? Argos's gaze is fixed on you, subtly shifting to follow each and every change in your eyes. All of them were... Oh, no. I didn't mean to do that. I thought you could do all of them at once and be like, I am changing the entire contract. Oh, I would have loved it. Okay. So... Crap. I want to debate Article 4. God damn it, he is a good contract man. I am terrible at this. Sneaky wording indeed. But he's simply forbidden from bringing harm to the hotel in Article 3. Isn't that the case? If we inspect him, he inspect us. So why don't we just lay ease fair and, like, just not look at each other's stuff? I'm sorry, but I don't quite agree with these terms here. Argos takes the contract from your hands and reads over it carefully.
You'll have to forgive me, Master. I don't see any issues. Nonetheless, I suppose I could give you some time to think it over while I draft another offer. Hopefully it'll be to your liking. Now, I imagine you must be eager to get the hotel of yours back up and running. How about I loan you the mirror while I go and do that? You may use it until my return. I'll call you with my flute. Should you not sign the contract then, however, this little trinket will revert back to me. Master can take this as a gesture of goodwill for his follower.
You and Argos establish a pact and shake hands. You return to the hotel and Hestia's mirror in hand. Kindling for the Holy Flame, Chapter 4. What an interesting chapter indeed. Just gonna save. How long is Chapter 4? Just gonna do a quick little debriefing on that, just to see how much more time I want to do with this. Amicus is just so lovely. Why am I such a nerd? Amicus, am I a nerd? Amicus, am I a nerd? I've never booped Amicus as Snoop before. I pooped his snoot twice. Oh, man. I think I'm losing my mind. Sorry, now I'm gonna check just to see how far we are into build 4. Yes, Ave Amicus. Apparently the foreman can, enter the hotel. So that's gonna be interesting. Chapter 4. Repairing the hotel. Okay, so I mean, Chapter 3 was like a little bit, like, decently long. But I don't know, man. I don't know, man. What do I do? Oh, man. What do I do? So much dilemmas going on here. Oh, okay. So it goes down so far. So I'm just like scrolling to see how big the chunk of text is. So there's like 4 or 5 parts to it, I guess. Okay. I guess maybe not. Doesn't mean he couldn't. Alright, so. He's so soft. I never smelled him though. Like, does he really smell of lavender? Oh my god, I could freaking smell the lavender. Please don't take this out of context. I can smell the freaking lavender. Oh my gosh, he's so lavender. Ah! All right, we're gonna do chapter 4. We are grinding tonight. We are the grinders here. Please don't take that out of context, please. As I've said like a billion times now. We won't, we swear. Well, I guess I didn't need this pen for any reason. I can't throw out the window because my window isn't open. All right, we continue on to chapter 4. The cave swallows you back into the hotel's depths, a velvety darkness to which your eyes struggle to adapt. We continue at the 2 hours and 5-minute mark. Oh, wrong description. Yeah, screw it, we'll start at 2:06. There was some sort of break, but I just need to figure out where it was. I'm just gonna say around 2 hours. Come on. Update. We continue along with Amicus. Sorry, I'm holding him so low, you guys can't see him, as I booped him. Ah, he's so sweet. Amicus bathwater. We've talked about this before. We are gonna continue on. The cave swallows you back into the hotel's depths, a velvety darkness to which your eyes struggle to adapt. Your breathing and footsteps echo all the way up the spiral staircase. Your shadow extends long into the chamber, turning irregular over the floor's jagged rocks. As your eyes settle down on you to gaze upon it, at how gargantuan it is, the shadow of a man. Whoa. Asterian's sitting against one of the chamber walls, looking at you and at this beast stretching from your feet. The fire from his eye flickers at you. I got the mirror. Now, can we get the hotel back and running? Or now we can get the hotel back and running, right? You hand it down to Asterion. His fingers gaze and curl softly over the bronze. And then he takes it from your hand with a ceremonial grace and cradles it against his chest. You take a good look at Asterion. His fur and shirt are matted with sweat despite the chamber's somewhat chilly temperature. Oh. His tail swishes behind them like a rowdy sea.
I am sorry for not informing you earlier, the foreman. I am truly sorry. I don't know what came over me, master.
Don't worry about that. It was no trouble at all. He wanted me to send you out, but I wasn't going along with that. So we had to figure out another way. He wanted food, water, and shelter. He offered me a contract, but I think I caught something weird about it. He loaned me the mirror while he fixes it up.
Yes, that is usually what he asks. The snake, he's an old thing from the labyrinth. His shape changes every now and again. He disappears for a few years at a time. Even decades. But the foreman has existed for a few millennia now. His role, too, is to torture me. Thank you.
Asterion hugs the mirror. His fingers brush against the surface, teasing out the sharp cold of the metal. He holds it against his chest like something dearly precious. Well then, shall we go back up?
Yes, sir. Pardon my slowness. I am feeling a bit nauseous. This all left me in a panic.
Oh, I can wait. You sit down beside Asterion, taking a position quite distinct from his, sitting cross-legged in contrast with his knees up. So, did he hurt you back then? Is that why you're afraid of him?
He doesn't usually hurt me. He plays games to terrorize me, more often than not, and he sends out the worst things to get me. There are horrible things out there, creatures made by the gods themselves. Argos must be one of them, just gifted with more intelligence than bloodlust. The valley is beautiful, isn't it, master? It is a sight to behold.
Just like Amicus. I just want to keep putting him back into camera. God damn it, I love him. I'm just gonna hold on to him. He's my child now.
But to me, it's terrifying. A beautiful place can be held to. For millennia, I was tortured there. Just being down here makes me sick. Master, would you allow me to speak frankly?
You don't have to ask my permission like that. If you want to, do it. I am giving you my permission to speak. I'm giving you my permission to speak to me freely, whenever you want. Your words cut through the gallery around you, and you hear the now familiar hum coming from the staircase. The world itself shudders in response, as if your words took root and shifted it forcibly. The Minotaur takes notice of this bone-chilling change around the two of you.
You are quite lenient as far as masters go. There weren't many who ever allowed me such freedom. Ironically, Master Clement was one of the few who did. But that is not what I meant to say. The Minotaur takes a deep breath and averts his gaze from you. Please, never send me out to the valley. I will do anything for you. Anything at all. Just don't ask me to do this one thing. You may punish me however you want if I do something wrong. Even if I do everything right too. I'll take anything. Just please don't make me go out.
We're gonna promise. Asterion, look at me. I promise I will never send you out. I can't say I know exactly what they did to you out there. I understand that if you didn't want to talk about it, or I understand if you don't want to talk about it. But I'll take your word, and I won't send you out. I meant what I told you last night. And I want you to be... I told you... Sorry. I meant what I told you last night. I want to be a good master to you and the hotel. I won't hurt you. And I promise I will never send you out. Asterion looks at you with a half-closed eye. Nausea still twists inside him, and he sways back and forth as if pushed and pulled by the sea's waves. Your words are sweet as honey. A veil of lead falls on the Minotaur. His back gives out and he curls forward, still holding the mirror against his chest. He rests his horns on his knees and lets out a rumbling sigh from the depths of his lungs. Are you feeling alright?
I'm just so... tired.
We can stay here a while longer. Take your time. Asterion groans again. You lay an arm over Asterion's shoulders. Asterion tenses when you touch him, but it only lasts a moment. You catch him turning his head slightly to his right, towards you. He responds with a long, deliberate blink, followed by his shoulders relaxing under your arm. Asterion is surprisingly warm. His messy fur doesn't do much to contain his body heat. He leans his head into your arm, taking care not to lay his horn on you. There's half a foot separating the two of you. You scoot closer to him. He looks at you again, and something sparks in his eye. It's starvation from human touch. Asterion has spent decades locked away in the dark room, going hungry and thirsty, becoming emaciated year after year. You have fed him, clothed him, and tended to his wounds. But a new form of hunger rears its head now. There's no way he can hide it. Now that you are close, he leans his weight on your shoulder and closes his eye. You pull him closer, accepting all the exhaustion in his bones. At times you feel his eye opening again, shifting to and fro. He wants your warmth, but struggles to give in fully. The battle keeps raging inside of him, and the side of remaining close to you wins out. Asterion mentioned that Master Jean-Marie used to pet him behind the ears. Now that he only has one. But the way he flicks it at you has an inviting quality. You pet him and he melts on you, nuzzling like a child. Your chest rumbles with the deep sigh that drips out from his throat. You'd let him doze off on your shoulder for as long as he wants. Eventually, Asterion signals to you that he's ready to make his way back upstairs. Oh god, we're going upstairs. Come on, buddy, let's go upstairs. Amicus is going up the stairs with us. You have to stop a few times to let Asterion rest, but eventually, you do make it up to the ground floor and to the lounge. Within the old lounge, glorious and eaten away by time, you and Asterion find a soot-covered hearth right across from the bar. It is circled by a set of armchairs. Their leather has cracked and dried, but no amount of damage can hide the talent with which they were made. Sunlight falls in front of the hearth, coming through the tall glass windows of the lounge. Asterion kneels before the hearth in a prayer-like position. He lays the mirror aside for a moment, and summons logs of wood and fire. Fine, dried hay, never mind. Then he places the hay at the mirror's focal point. The beam of focused sunlight heats up the hay. You and Asterion wait.
decades ago. Had the fire gone out, I would have been punished. Tending to it was one of my many duties, and failing to do so was one of my gravest mistakes I could make. Once it was lit again, the hotel would come back to life. This realm is quite unlike the world outside, is it not? It is hard for me to even remember what it was like when I was alive. Back home, when I was just a boy, I went hunting for wild goats with one of my brothers. Finding our own food and bringing it back home. Our father would take me out to the fields. People believed that it would bring them luck and good harvest. Food is harvested or hunted, wood is chopped down, homes are built with sweat and stone. But this world operates under different rules. The gods built the world where we were born, knowing well that we were fated to toil and suffer. Such is the fate of man. Where you live, shine. While you live, shine. Have no grief at all. Life only exists for a short while, and time demands his due. The gods appreciate it, the suffering of mortals. So they chose instead not to bind this realm by the same rules. If one wishes to inflict pain, he must chop down a tree and work the wood into the spear, then mine and refine the metal for its head. But here my jailer could summon, break, and summon spears to his heart's content. Why waste time working the land when he could so easily summon all the food his body craves? So too he bent the rules of life and space itself. The architecture of reality. The master's will is so sovereign. As Asterion speaks, the hay twists as it dries further, and then darkens and emits a fine smoke. The pure flame will soon be at hand. The gods, however, seldom grasp human ingenuity. Change confuses them. They would gladly go by centuries without changing, repeating the same days forever and ever. I saw this with my own eyes. I may be a monster, but I am half human. Change comes easy to me as well. I have shifted with each century, adapting to my master's will, doing whatever it took. It just cut out for a second. I was like, what just happened? Anyway, a sliver of fire rises from the hay. Asterion picks it up, not caring for whether or not he gets burned, and places it between the logs. You have kindness in you. We're gonna take a sip for that. I'm thirsty. Amicus, you want water? No, I'm not gonna do it. Amicus is already sated. But human ingenuity at times goes too far. There are things the hotel cannot accomplish no matter how much one tries. Man cannot be made immortal, for starters. The gods would not have been so lenient. Neither can the dead be brought back. The hotel will not make gold or silver in large quantities, and it will never print currency. Fuck. It's good. Well, technically, if you have all the gold in the world, you can use the gold standard to make the currency. Most important of all, the realm needs precise instructions onto what is intended to fabricate. As powerful as the master may be here, he can never be made into a god. That is a fundamental rule of the labyrinth. Man, Amicus, you're making everybody thirsty. Now I have to take a sip because of the ellipses.
Oh, now he's got a little bit of a wet snoot. Amicus and I share our water. It is delicious. Oh, here comes the fire. A pure fire, fitting for the gods. The gods are gone. From stories guests have told me over the centuries, it seemed to me that the world outside is well on its way to leaving myth and magic behind. But their power lingers. An offering to them may still be heard, and the labyrinth will never let go of these fundamental rules. A man remains a man. Well, you live, shine, have no grief at all. Life exists only for a short while, and time demands his due. Have you listened to that song before, Master? I heard a woman from Ephesus sing that. She said her husband wrote it for her when she died. Lots of people took to singing it down there, whether it's in Asylum or Elysium or Tartaros. Life is short, for some more than others. It ought to be enjoyed. Whoever bequeathed you the hotel's deed gave you a gift greater than any fortune. This place and I will tend to your needs. You can live a blessed life, and if you allow this place to fulfill its man-made purpose, to give respite to those lost and wandering, it will give your life meaning as well. Even an existence as wretched as mine can have beauty, my lord. I do not quite know why I'm telling you this. I suppose I missed talking, and I feel so nervous all of a sudden. Don't worry about that. I like listening to you. This is fine, you know? Talking like this in front of the fire? I can't say I've fully figured out how this hotel works and what's going on, but this is a nice moment, don't you think? Yes, it indeed is. The flame looks like any ordinary flame, but something in it pulls your attention to it. For a long time, hours maybe, you and Asterion gaze at it. At the back of your mind, you can hear the hotel creaking and twisting, furniture dragging itself here and there, fabric ripping and sewing itself back up. You can, just at the corners of your vision, notice the lounge remaking itself. The sun drags itself through the sky. At some point, a vague shape materializes between you and Asterion. A wine bottle. The Minotaur is just as sluggish as you, but he manages to pick it up and open it. He offers the bottle to you before taking a sip himself, but you let him have all of it. Much like last night, he drinks directly from the bottle, although this time, he proves better at managing his half-skeletal mouth. But your attention is pulled back to the fire. The flames dim the harder you look until settling down to barely lit embers. Perhaps it's your eyes tricking you, but on the hearth's flames, a scene unfolds. There's you, Asterion, and the lounge. It shifts and sways. At times, it reverts into an archaic tavern, its floor lined with ceramic tiles and its walls covered by barrels of aging wine. Then it leaps ahead to what you can only believe is the future, but it is as if the fire is indecisive. Oh, I know who that character is. No spoilers. At times you see a classy restaurant and finely dressed patrons, with a wide figure behind the bar. It's a scenic space, but one of an underlined strictness that some could consider stifling. But there is another possibility. Oh, that character. I know who this guy is. A rowdy place. Perhaps even lascivious. I don't know. I've never seen that word before. With a scantily clad man managing it. The The kind of place where one would live out unforgettable shenanigans, both disgraceful and re-energizing. These two visions for the lounge seem to struggle against each other. A weight falls on your shoulders. The flames repeat the vision again and again, pushing you to make a choice. The hotel demands an answer. What is your will? Fun and rowdy, perhaps even horny. I mean, we are doing the safe for work mode, so... What do we do? I'm a bit worried. I feel like if I do the fun and rowdy one, we might get into some crazy shenanigans. But if we do classic and scenic, that might help us lead maybe down towards the dragon character, which I forgot his name, but I know and I like. It's so tough to choose. And this is supposed to be a safe for work channel, damn it. Well, I guess on YouTube at least. So, one for fun and rowdy, one for classy. Anybody else want to contribute? Well, if the classy one has tea, then tea. My Britishness must have tea. Nice. Another vote for classy. I wonder how much this will affect, like, just the overall route of things. I'm just gonna save quickly, as usual. Alright, seems like nobody else is objecting to it, but I guess we're gonna be with classy and scenic, but strict. I need order in this place, damn it! As you make your choice, a sense of finality descends, as if you had broken a seal, or perhaps signed a contract. Yeah, Amicus would of course sign for classy. Maybe a little horny. You are pulled out of your meditation. Asterion looks as well into the fire, unfazed by what happened. I was afraid I'd be locked in there forever. It kept coming back to me. Was this the fate of the gods? Were they locked away somewhere, stuck and forgotten? Is that why they disappeared? If only I could disobey Master Clement's orders, I would have rammed that door down on the very same day he threw me in. But I couldn't. I cannot obey the master, or I cannot disobey the master. Neither can I disobey you. For all those years I thought, and thought, and thought. There's nothing else I could do, and my body was rotting away. I thought about all that could happen, every little possibility. I wish I could tell you that I dreamed, and indeed at times I allowed myself to hope. But more often than not, I thought about all the bad things that could happen next, every possibility. It is difficult for me to believe that I'm free. At times I catch myself thinking that this must be one of my daydreams. I was certain you'd send me out to the foreman, and it would all turn into a nightmare. My stomach was turning. I sat down because I couldn't stay up. When you turn, you are greeted with a new sight, a rebuilt lounge. an afternoon sun outside, and an entirely different Asterion. Oh my god! Oh my god, it happened. Now he does not have weak voice. He no longer has weak voice. He now has big boy voice. But it is not a dream. We are here. But it's not a dream. We are here. I just want to get back to my life. My hotel. My guests. Voices bouncing down the hallways. Food and drink for all. Listening to their stories well into the night. At times, I wish I could sneak out during the night. While Master Jean-Marie... At times, I would sneak out during the night while Master Jean-Marie slept. Outside, I'd meet up with a friend. A mathematician from the New World. And we talked on and on about infinity. About the hotel's architecture. We'd bring wine and get way too drunk and rowdy. Then the kitchen staff joined us, and later the nighttime receptionist. We'd hang out by the kitchen's back door, outside, with the radio blaring from inside. We'd listen to the French songs all night long. I'd summon cigarettes for them. I didn't smoke myself, but I'd return reeking of tobacco. Oh, I'd always have to take a bath before Master woke up. And in turn, they'd ask Master Jean-Marie to put me in their crews. And I'd just not do much. Just enjoy their company. Spending a day with friends, talking, laughing. Not a care in the world. It was life. I woke up every day knowing my existence had meaning. I had a purpose. It was all that I had. And that fiend took it away from me. That fiend took it away from me. It was like a dream. It was all of my past had never happened. And I couldn't live a fantasy of doing something good. Each and every day was a marvel. It was a good and kept me from the nightmares. It didn't matter if the masters treated me well or not, because they were not my life. I had friends, a reason to be. It was the Minotaur from Crete, or some tortured prisoner. I was a Asterion. That's all. And chances were they didn't know what got me here in the first place. But the dream had come to an end. It just had to. I died once in Crete. And again, when Clement kicked me out of my guests. All my other deaths, tortured by masters from centuries ago, were small compared to those. Oh, it isn't fair. I'm the monster. I know my crimes. But what did my guests do? Nothing to deserve being kicked out of their home. We had veterans recovering from shell shock, soldiers still healing from their wounds, refugees from the fronts. We built a purpose for this place. No thanks to the gods. And that selfish fiend destroyed it. We're gonna take a sip quickly. Making sure Amicus stays hydrated. again. I'm sorry. I forget my place when I drink, Master. This won't happen again. It was awfully out of place. It's fine, though. I gave you permission to speak freely with me, didn't I? And I meant it. If you were bothering me, I'd have told you to stop already. So, you can relax. I suppose I want to... Excuse me. So you can relax. I suppose I want to learn more about you and what you went through. Ellipses again. Alright. Sorry, just saying goodnight to my parents. I can only assume times have changed. You are not like the other masters. I'd have been put into my place for this insolence by now. Oh, I keep thinking this will all end at any moment now. That I'll wake back up in that room. Asterian's gaze wanders, and it seems that only now he realizes the vast change in the lounge. The hotel is alive again. But it's not a dream. You'll see. It may take a while for you to believe me, but it's true. And I meant what I said. I want to be a good master to the hotel. And to you. Asterian's eye shifts away, and then back to you. The Minotaur bites his lips. The smallest sigh escapes his lips, followed by him closing his eye. The side of his face wrinkles. He's about to say something. His face goes cold in a nearly professional solemnity, but he stops himself again. One last time, he looks at you. I am sure that Master will. His lip trembles for a moment before a smile cracks his face. His voice comes out twisted. The curve of his smile gives his words a tinge of warmth, but his words come out shaken. His voice cracks and the Minotaur enunciates slowly. There is also an undercurrent of anxiety as his eye shifts to and fro. I am glad that, of all the people there are, you are here, Master Dirk. He looks down, then back to you. Something seems to flash in front of his eyes, which takes away his attention. He sinks in thought. And it is as if he is entertaining an idea. Whatever it is that takes his mind seems hopeful. He bites his lips in want, and continues to lose himself in wanting to believe. The smile conquers his face first. The smile conquers his face first, and spreads out to his whole body. This time, his voice comes out firmer amidst his smile. Then I repeat my vows. If you are set on caring for the hotel and its guests, and fulfilling its man-made mission, then I will serve you out of my own will. It will be a pleasure to serve you, Master Dirk. There is so much about which I would enjoy talking with you. Could I perhaps persuade you to enjoy a drink? now he's the big buff bull. Now he's giving me drinks and stuff. Oof, I'm loving it. If you can't handle Asterion at his lowest, you don't deserve him at his best. Just saying. You nod and tell Asterion about your favorite drinks. The details of what you say seem to wash over Asterion. He doesn't nod or react as you describe the drink. Instead, his face is taken by a languid joy. Asterion goes behind the new lounge's counter. His hands caress the wood, feeling its smooth, almost sensual texture. He nods without looking at you. Now I can assure you, I'll make something quite extraordinary, he says while caressing his beloved hotel. The Minotaur looks at the bottles on the wall. You don't recognize any of the labels, even if you can guess their contents. It would seem that they are all in-house productions. Asterion, however, seems at home. His gaze wanders for only a moment before it gains a knowledgeable tinge. He selects the necessary bottles and sets out to make your drink. He starts by washing a cup. It already shone when the Minotaur picked it up from the counter, as if it had just been polished for its first use. But he insists on doing it. The water is on, and there is even a fresh bar of soap near the sink. It's as if the entire place had just been tidied up by a disciplined cleaning crew. The Minotaur holds on to his smile, his eyes half closed as he runs his fingers on the glassware and all the equipment he will use. He takes his sweet time becoming acquainted with the new environment, then pouring your drink. At times, he shows a bit of clumsiness, no doubt a consequence of downing an entire bottle of wine. Asterion gingerly slides the cup to you on top of a napkin. He finally looks back to your eyes, acknowledging your existence. His voice comes out with the slightest inflection of a smile. I am not quite there yet. I will get better still. Just need some more practice to polish up back to my old self. I rarely ever managed the lounge. I'm acquainted with it, of course. But there were always better bartenders around. But I do enjoy it. The precision that goes with mixing drinks. Asterion lays his forearm on the counter and supports his weight on it. His tail swishes lazily behind him. I wasn't ever the best cook either. I do well enough to please the master. You will see. But working in the kitchen requires agility. I could spend 10 minutes chopping a single tomato, making sure all the pieces were the same size. Master Jean-Marie had me do exactly that a few times. Cooking is a very intimate thing, Master. Back when Master Jean-Marie was alive, my shifts helping the kitchen staff would amount at most standing in a corner, chopping a few onions per hour. Working with my hands is, very relaxing, even if I'm not terribly dexterous. Super chat.
Oh, thanks for the $2, Perpy. This is how Perpy always introduces themselves. Giving me $2. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much. I will use that to buy 1 candy bar. Anyway, even if I'm not terribly dexterous, it may surprise you, but I only learned to cook. Working with my hands is very relaxing, even if I'm not terribly dexterous. It may surprise you, but I only learned how to cook. How to measure ingredients, read recipes, season food, just a few centuries ago. No one taught me how to cook back in Crete. And when I was back in the labyrinth, I didn't have much to cook with. Father would send me food shipments. This video is sponsored by HelloFresh. No, I kid, it isn't, but oh man, that'd just be hilarious if it just suddenly turned into that. But Father would send food shipments. Another drink. No matter. It is improper of me to unload something like that on anyone, let alone master.
Super chat.
Asterion is not amused by Perpy's $2. And then, oh yeah, there's a Dastra t-shirts. I forgot about that. Yeah, $2 from Perpy saying to buy a Dastra t-shirt. You didn't get to see me boop him earlier. I got to boop Amicus and sniff the lavender. I'll do it again, just because I really want to. I actually can smell the lavender in this one. In my Amicus, he's very lavender scented. And I think it's probably because, like, the shipment places, I think there's like one where it was like in China, one it was like in California, and there's like one in a different place. But yeah, the one that's in California is like only an hour and a half, 2 hours away from my parents' home where it was shipped. So it seemed like at least, you know, the shipping situation was a bit more streamlined, I guess. So maybe that might be why mine has more of a scent than others. Because somebody else said theirs, they couldn't really smell it. Anyway. I know, I don't have my Smarties. I'm gonna have to buy more Smarties then, but I have them back in my place for the next week. Anyway, no matter. It is improper of me to unload something like that on anyone, let alone master.
Super chat.
Yes, it is the Amicus plushie, $2 from Perpy the Cat again, totaling for, I think it's $6. Anyway, we are gonna move on, because Asterion wants to speak, god dang it. Happier subjects abound. The Minotaur turns back and picks up a bottle of wine. It is different from the previous bottles you found. It has a minimalistic label and a more modern shape. Asterion gives you a quick, pensive glance before opening the bottle and taking a long swig from it. Oh god, he looks so fine in that shirt and jeans, like, oh gosh. Asterion, you could have, honestly, you could be my servant any day. Anyway, what do you talk about next? Amicus, what should we talk about next? Maybe we should start with, what was it like back in Crete? Start with the old, go towards the new. Life back in Crete. Now that, my memory is hazy to say the least. It's been so long that I'm not sure if what I remembered is even correct. But Crete was quite the power back then. That was before Athens gained traction. I was raised in the palace of Knossos. It was an immense, sprawling building. Perhaps the greatest the world has ever seen at the time. I had many siblings. We played when I was allowed to. I couldn't leave the palace often, but I used to sneak out with my brothers to go hunting wild ghosts. I was swift-footed. My hooves helped me cross Crete's hard, volcanic soil.
Super chat.
I had a mother and a father like any other child. And quickly, Perpy is asking me with a $2 donation, are you using the custom feature, the custom avatar feature? No, I am not. I didn't know you could do that. Can I do that? I don't think I can. Am I not allowed to? Is it illegal? Oh, hey, dyslexic font.
Oh, it doesn't change. I thought it would. Anyway. I don't know where to do it, and it seems like it's disabled if it's one of the blue ones. But anyway, maybe it'll be activated later if I do something else. Anyway, like any other child. Ellipses, I ran out of water so I cannot sip on anything. Guess I'll just have to sip the ink from this lead. No, I can't. Do not drink lead. Please do not drink lead. There's a password you can put in. You'll find it on the itch website, I think. Okay. I mean, I like Asterion just the way he is, though. He is just fine the way he is. I like this color of him perfectly. I was actually, if I would have had the custom choice, I would have actually picked this color. Awesome, Amarul. I love it when the lecturer postpones things. Or, well, at least is, like, out for the day. And also, don't feed your Amicus lead. Good advice. I won't feed you lead, buddy. No lead for you. Aren't you the best? My mother's name was Pasiphae. She, in retrospect, I realized she wasn't all there. In the head, I mean. I didn't quite understand it back then, but I don't think she liked seeing me. I reminded her of what she had done, and of her reputation. My adoptive father was King Minos. Assuming I wasn't misbehaving, he treated me well for the most part, because I was sacred. Ellipses again. Guess I'll have to lick this thing of deodorant. Then I got sent to the labyrinth. I don't remember how old I was then. Maybe 12 or so. My sister... Super chat. Dirk, I'll give you $50 if you buy a t-shirt. I don't know. This sounds like quite a deal. You pay for my shirt, basically. I'll think about it, Perpy. I don't know. Maybe that could be something I use my YouTube funds for. Buying Amicus and Adastra shirts, and... I don't know, maybe becoming a VTuber, maybe having somebody do highlight clips of these videos. That would be a fun idea. I've always thought about that, but just I realized I'd have to pay somebody and figure out how that would work. Anyway, I don't remember how old I was then. Maybe 12 or so. My sister, Ariadne, convinced father. She said I would become dangerous. It took a while, but he was swayed. I was carted off and left there with only an axe to fend for myself. In that labyrinth built by the artisan Daedalus. That's what life was like for me in Crete. Isn't it curious how we hold on to memories of childhood? I've existed for thousands of years now. I died young, before my 20th birthday, and yet so much of who I am comes from those 2 decades. I often wonder what life was like, or I wonder often what life would have been like if I had not been a hybrid monster. For starters, Mother wouldn't have lost her mind. My sister wouldn't have tried convincing Father to send me off. I would have had a normal childhood. And make no mistake, life back then was not easy and dying young was not out of the ordinary. A land like Crete had to be kept in self-arm too. Had I been born fully human, I could have died young by disease, or in early adulthood by combat. Still, that would have been preferable to what I went through. Had I not been sent off to the labyrinth, the gods would have not sentenced me for my cowardice. I'd still be in Hades, in the Asphodel Meadows, where I was supposed to be. Hades, perhaps. Perhaps Master wished for me to tell happy memories of Crete. I do have a few, quite a few, but I have more from Hades. I was welcome there, as all souls are. Of course, I was no hero and would never see the Elysian Fields. That's where the heroes went to. But the Asphodel Meadows, where regular souls were sentenced to, was quite pleasant. I even had a job there. The god of the underworld picked me to take part in the border patrol. It was a simple enough duty, patrolling the frontier to catch souls attempting to escape. I shared housing with a cousin. I never even knew I had a cousin until then. His name was Geryon, and we had a lot in common. The god of the underworld, Lord Hades himself, took a liking to me. We'd often train together, and he taught me the underworld's fighting style. Saren looks down to the counter and drums his fingers on it, lost in thought. I was a good patrolman. I wouldn't have minded staying there. That's about it, I suppose. Does Master have any other questions? What do you talk about next? Perpy just donated another $2 saying, "Lad, when you get new company, censor the scene." Nice.
Super chat.
And there it is, the $2 donation. Thank you so much. But what did you do for fun? So I'm curious, before Master Clement came along, what did you do for fun here? For fun? I suppose I've had a number of leisure activities over the ages. Ever since the hotel was built, at least. I didn't always have the means, but I've been an avid reader for a while. Mind you, I come from a time long before the printing press. I learned to read the Cretan language from my brothers by writing and reading the letters in the sand. There was no paper during those times, and stories were recited from memory. Even today, the hotel can't manifest books. We still depend on receiving shipments from the outside world. But when the masters saw fit to give me some, I always enjoyed reading material. Poetry mainly, but how can I put it? I'm curious about how the world outside is doing.
Super chat.
Sorry, I meant you and when you see an eagle. Oh, yes, I know who that character is. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Anyway, I can never see it for myself. But when I read the stories, oh, I can imagine. I often wondered how different reality is from what I've imagined, and how much it has changed. Master Jean-Marie insisted I read The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He even showed me a few drawings of the cathedral, which he drew himself from memory. But I do wonder, what must it feel like to be there? Oh, how haunting must it be? I've never been to a church. I've never been in one. I died long before Christ. But the guests have told me all about them. Stained glass windows, tall, mighty pillars, the arches, the golden arches. Every church has a McDonald's inside of it. One's voice echoes all the way to the entrance. And the wooden benches. I wonder what Notre Dame de Paris must have looked like today. What it must have felt like, or what it must feel like to walk through alone. What it must feel like to walk alone through it, seeing all the statues of the apostles. Sometimes I'd even dream about what I was reading. That was a mercy like no other. There were very few things better than a good book. Although that hardly counts as my main pastime, since books always have been so scarce. My lyre has been my dear friend for centuries now. Master can guess that I must be awfully rusty after all those years locked away. Still, as soon as I've brushed up on my skills and tuned it, it would be a pleasure to play it for my master. As I said, I also enjoyed spending time with the guests. Who doesn't like being around friends? But I suppose for me, it's different. It makes me feel normal. As normal as a Minotaur can be, which isn't much. I didn't always tell them about my past. The master is entitled to know, of course.
Super chat.
Oh, thanks for $5, Perpy, saying, there's a church near me with a church chicken in it, and it only opens on Sunday. Reverse Chick-fil-A? Anyway, the master is entitled to know, of course. And a few of them were informed, but only those I chose. More often than not, I didn't want them to know. I only got in the way. Or it only got in the way. It was already difficult enough making friends. Yeah, and it opened a series of questions I'd rather not answer every day. Asterion bites his lip and sighs. There is one thing I greatly enjoyed, but it hardly counts as a leisure activity. And I wouldn't want to bother Master by rambling on. I'm curious, what is it? Go on. What is it? Well, if Master truly wishes to know. A few masters who inherited the hotel had children of their own. More often than not, they were guests themselves before acquiring the deed, so they knew me well enough. I helped with raising the children. Oh, they were such a joy, each and every one of them. Even the unruly ones, I might add. It usually took a while for them to warm up to me. I know I can be scary even for an adult, let alone a child. I can only imagine what must have gone through your mind when you saw me in the cold room. Oh, I suppose that I should be thankful you did not abandon me right then and there. Anywho, the younger ones, if they happened to arrive at the hotel early enough, they were quicker to get used to me. Some would even say I was cute. Aw, that's so adorable! Asterion plushie? To put next to my Amicus plushie? They thought having Minotaur friend was fun. Playing with my horns, petting me. I'd even give them rides on my back. I was the fun babysitter, you could say. A handful of them even grew up to become masters themselves, inheriting the deed from their parents. Now that was a joy, serving the children I helped raise. I was very proud of them.
Super chat.
Thanks for the $2 again, saying, by the way, this novel is so heartwarming. I agree so much. I'm really loving this novel. I'm so glad I was suggested this novel. But this hotel had a special significance to them. It was a home like no other place could be.
The hotel attracts those who are lost. Many of those children had no place to return to. Some had lost their countries entirely. That was a long time ago. I wonder if any of their descendants still live. Life exists only for a short while. I once knew a god. He told me that a human lifespan is like the blink of an eye to them. We're akin to pets. Father used to tell me not to grow attached to dogs, for they lived short lives. That is how they see mortals. It's not the same for me. I may have died already, but I experience time like any other person would. Indeed, life only exists for a short while, but it's long enough to be enjoyed. Better not to think too much about those matters. What else? I enjoy exercise, as you can clearly see by my nice build. I wasn't much of a fighter at heart. But I was trained for it. I was taught to always remain sharp. Speaking frankly, I cannot wait to have some exercise. Not tonight, perhaps. It's still too soon, but the day will come. What else? What else did I enjoy? Music. I played the lyre, yes, but the radio. Oh, that was very nice. Master Jean-Marie made sure I listened to all the French singers. Humanity truly is wonderful. The gods and the mythical creatures, they are set in stone and hardly ever change. They were made to be eternal. But humans change so much, and I'm glad to at least be half human. I dearly enjoy the inventions humankind have come up with over the centuries. I can't wait to learn about all of what's changed. Anything else Master would like to know? What else would you like to talk about? What's your favorite memory? We'll ask foods last, because foods, they're way to my heart. My favorite memory? Now that's a tough question. Asterion drinks more of his wine, then rubs his hand against the counter. He sighs, looks to you, then looks back down again a few times. Very hard question, but I think I know. There was the master, Sir Bernard.
Super chat.
Thanks for the $5, Perpy. He asks, or they ask, I don't know your gender, sorry. If I donate enough, will you do a VR chat react video? I mean, I could. I mean, I don't know if money would be the way to exactly do it, but that's an interesting idea. I just don't know what I'd react to. Maybe you could give me suggestions on what to react to. I don't know, doesn't seem like that's something I normally do on my channel, but I've been told about VR chat. Man, I need to get started on that, even though I don't have a headset. Anyway, back to my favorite memory. There was a master, Sir Bernard. He was the labyrinth's lord for a few decades and then passed it down to his son, Sir Robert. When Sir Bernard was on his deathbed, his son transferred ownership of the hotel back to him for a day. As the hotel's returning master, Sir Bernard wrote and signed a contract. Except it was just a letter to me, thanking me for everything. Sir Robert took over again, of course, and he prepared me something too. I had helped raise him, you see, and he'd gathered all of his childhood drawings of me and signed them as a contract as well. Contracts are everlasting, unless explicitly revoked, so their contracts would last forever.
They can't be burned or torn apart. Nothing will ever destroy them. That is my dearest memory. Robert and Bernard's gifts to me. The contracts, they are everlasting, but I know Clemens tore apart the ledger where I kept them. They must be hidden away somewhere. Eventually I'll find them again, even if it takes me years.
Super chat.
Okay, Perpy donated another $2 with a pear. Is this implying anything? Am I a pear? What does this all mean? Asterion, what does this mean? After all, I have all the time in the world, don't I? The Minotaur takes yet another swig of his wine. He sways left and right, his eyes half closed. I have another memory just as sweet. When I was in the underworld, I made friends. One of them gifted me a statue with a statue of a red ox. He was a herder in life. It was fitting, of course. I brought it with me to this place. The only thing I managed to bring. It was supposed to be my room, but... Again, Clement. I was loved. The letters and the statue. I cherished them dearly. But love needs no gift to be remembered. Asterion looks down again. He holds the wine bottle against his chest. Is there something else Master would like to know? What do you talk about next? I wonder. What are your favorite foods? My favorite food? Master should not worry about that. I eat the leftovers. Anything will do for me. And it's not like I can die from starvation. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. But surely there are things you prefer. Or wait, no. But surely there are things you prefer. Or foods you won't eat? Any allergies? Well, if Master truly wishes to know.
Super chat.
Can you say but 3 times in that accent? But. Are you satisfied by this? Are you satisfied that Asterion said but 3 times? Well, if Master truly wishes to know. I don't. I'd rather not eat beef. For obvious reasons. And I have not for thousands of years now. It would be cannibalism. So it's usually poultry and fish for me. Or... Well, I did hunt wild goats with my brothers back in Crete. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite foods by far. I didn't get to eat meat often when I was a child. It was a luxury of sorts, and the shipments of the labyrinth rarely had any. It would rot on the way, so they didn't even try. Goat aside, for the longest time, oats were the best I could get. Even today, I have a liking for porridge. And I have a sweet tooth. Just like this guy. I always liked fruit and honey, even as a kid. But back in 1940, there were so many options. Master Jean-Marie insisted that from the start that his mandate that we needed French pastries daily. Oh man, that sounds so delicious. Traditional baguettes, croissants. Can I get a croissant? Croissant. Traditional baguettes, croissant, and pain au chocolat for breakfast with jam. Macarons every Sunday and tarts after lunch.
Making a traditional baguette is no simple matter. I spent many months trying to make a single one which pleased his palate. He allowed me to eat the leftovers every once in a while. Just the thought makes me salivate. I'm so glad. He doesn't finish the thought. Asterion keeps his eyes fixed on you, his ears and tail flicking lazily. When the conversation naturally exhausts itself, you both let inertia carry you into a comfortable silence. The warm buzz of alcohol in your system does not much to ease the day's drudgery, as does the newly rekindled hearth fire's
Super chat.
convivial crackle. Can you say it 3 more again for a ringtone? Fine. I'll say it again. Are you ready? Waiting for Perpy to get the recorder out. This is just for you, Perpy. No one else. I'm kidding. Anybody can use this. Anyway, here we go. But. 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 Is that good enough? Is that gonna appease your recording? Like, this is also gonna be recorded in case you ever want to re-record it, like, from watching it again, but... it's a fun thing to say in this accent. I really like this one. It really fits well for me. It really does fit this very warm, gentlemanly fashion of Asterion. Yes, and it was hot. Thank you. You're welcome. Anything for $2. The seats bear your weight admirably. Despite their age and the rustic scent of wood smoke and fine leather upholstery makes relaxation as effortless as breathing. Though you and Asterion are the only current occupants of the lounge, things seem a little livelier than the stark row of unclaimed stools would suggest. With the hotel's improving condition, each one brims over with potential for future patrons to use. There's something about Firelight's ability to captivate the heart that harkens back to the time immemorial. As though written into your bones by the struggles of your ancestors, the dancing shadows stir an impulse that your mind can only dimly direct. For a moment, Asterion's presence is so insubstantial that you feel alone with your thoughts. Out of the corner of your eye, you see his bovine brow crease, his eyes slowly flicking back and forth between you and the fireplace. His mouth opens soundlessly for a moment, but closes just as quickly, as though the subtlest, I've never seen that word, subtlest? As though the subtlest, oh my god, I'm stupid. As though the subtlest perturbation of the air would be enough to shatter the idyllic scene. In the soft light, Asterion's countenance grows soulful, and then cold and lucid. Perhaps as a quirk of his immortal body, he seems to sober up more quickly than you were expecting. His gaze finally settles on the fire with the stone-faced focus of a trained guard. Alert, but betraying no further sign of his feelings.
Super chat.
$5 same, but can you say but 5 times in a French accent? Last one, I promise. I mean, my French accent isn't that good, but let me think back to Victor Chevalier. Victor Chevalier, whatever his last name was. I got to say but 5 times in...
I gotta say oui, 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 oui. I have to sound very stereotypical to get the French accent back. But. Does that work for you? That is my best but accent. At this rate, Dirk will be able to buy a butt baguette. God damn it. Why is this chat so damn chaotic? You cannot say how many hours you two have spent before the fireplace, looking with simple, rapt attention at the flame. Heedless of the passage of time, the greedy moment stretches on as long as the compulsions of your biology will allow it to. The feeling of your chin hitting your chest eventually jolts you from the quiet reverie. You didn't even notice you were starting to nod off. Bleary-eyed, whether with inebriation or fatigue, you check your phone. It's almost midnight. Ironically, it's almost midnight here. Asterion furtively steals a glimpse at the clock as on your smartphone screen, but raises no comment about it. Curiosity waylaid by duty, he speaks at last. It is quite late, master. Would it please you if I prepare dinner before you retire for the night? This time, I can cook you a proper meal. Oh, this is gonna be fun. You can see no reason to refuse Asterion's offer. Pervy just gave me a $2 donation saying you only said it 3 times. Fine, I'll say it 2 more times. God dang it. But. I think that's been 5 or 6 times. That should make you happy, Perpy. Super chat. There's the offer, and I took it. Thank you for the $2 though, Perpy. It's always nice to get the support. The walk back to your quarters is blessedly brief, and you quickly take a seat on the couch and make ready for your evening meal. While your Minotaur manservant prepares you dinner, there is little to do except lounge on the couch and savor the smells that waft from your private kitchen. You continue to lapse in and out of consciousness every so often, torn between the gnawing hunger in your belly and the sudden weight of your eyelids. Asterion presents you with your food in short order, bringing a tray of ham
Super
steak.
chat.
Oh, thanks for the donation. Worth it, of course. Thanks, Perpy, for the $2. But Asterion presents you with your food in short order, bringing a tray of ham steak and mashed potatoes to the couch to spare you the need to walk to the table. Oh my god, get me a mans that can do this for me. Ah, love it. To your tipsy, sleep-fogged brain, it seems a veritable feast. You tear into it with a gusto of a starving man. Note, make sure you eat enough before you drink. I had a month's worth of problems because I did not eat all day before I drank. And I suffered. Terribly. Luckily, I've just gotten better over it now, but I've also have learned to be a lot more careful with what I eat. And, you know, when I drink with it and whatever. But anyway, you tear into it with the gusto of a starving man. As you sit up and start to eat, Asterion seems faintly content with you enjoying his cooking. But old habits die hard nonetheless. The Minotaur bows dutifully before cantering away to let you enjoy your meal in solitude. He is gone before you can think to ask him to join you, and though you know he is but a simple shout away, you think better of asking anything else of him. Once your hunger is sated, sleep is upon you in a moment. You set the tray down at the side of the couch and close your eyes. The last sounds you hear are the faint click of Astarion's hooves against the floor, and the jingling of silverware as he carries your leftovers back to the kitchen. A slow, sneaking clop reaches your semi-conscious brain through the haze of fitful sleep, followed by a sudden sensation of warmth and a gentle pressure across your entire body. You soon fall into a deeper, easier slumber. Not again! We're back in Hades! The doorknob clicks behind Astarion. His smile persists as he holds on to the warmth from this night. The Minotaur's cheeks hurt from smiling, an unfamiliar sensation after the decades locked away. His throat, too sore from talking. Whatever he tries to say only comes out as a raspy croak now. His recovering body surprises him at times.
Chat.
Thank you for the $2. You can thank me later, chat, like in the comments. Oh, man. And yes, I looked at Amaryl's comment. Lucky that I am Muslim, which means total alcohol abstinence, which I could totally respect. And I know people that don't do alcohol, even in my family. Like, my dad doesn't do alcohol, so I totally respect that. And I think, it's up to the individual and what their preference is. So it's like, if people do it and it's like, they enjoy it, that's their thing. For me, I like my variety of drinks. I kind of am an all-around type of person. Like, I like drinking a lot of different types of alcohol, like beer, whiskey, blah, blah, blah. But yeah. The abstinence is a good way to be the designated driver and to make sure you don't do anything stupid. Anyway, let's move on. His recovering body surprises him at times. How it doesn't hurt to move anymore. How quick he is, even at a slow pace. This renewed strength surprises him. He had a difficult time handling the fragile glasses and small, delicate tools back in the lounge. Similarly, closing the door without slamming it behind him was just now tricky. And yet, he is alone in his room. There is silence. And a silence like this, after any night when one's cheeks end up hurting from smiling, is as oppressive as being whisked away from paradise. Silence can be unforgivable. The master's voice and breathing, the slight shift in the furniture as he moved around the room, the sounds of his own hoofsteps. It's all gone. There are no eyes watching him. Nothing to say or do in this barren bedroom.
Super chat.
Thanks for the $5, Perpy. That's really nice of you. Put that plushie on top of the drawer. It looks good back there. Fine, I'll do it. That's where he was before. And my red panda was hugging him. Oh my god, standing up hurts my back. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, my back is so achy. I think it's from doing tennis earlier. Frick. You guys see him? There he is. But oh my god, I feel like I have back problems now. Because I'm sitting down. Oh, man, I wish I had my back roller. I need one of those deep tissue massager things. Oh, those would feel so good on me. Yeah, I really hit that age already. Me at 23, man. I'm really hitting those old years. Anyway, there are no eyes watching him. Nothing to say or do in this barren bedroom. He lays on his bed, looking up to the ceiling. The bedroom has no windows. just the single light bulb shining overhead. Asterion swishes his tail. The tuft of hair at its end provides him with a single sound. He clutches his pillow beneath his head. His fingers contort into shaking fists, and the light imprints a stain on his eyes. The corners of his healed mouth hurt. It's been decades since he's smiled this much. Left alone, there are no distractions from dark thoughts about the Master, and all humans for that matter. Humanity is a sentence by itself, he thinks, to only be half human, and to be ruled over by those I'll never be like. The Minotaur wonders how large is the gap that keeps men from going wild. It is easy to show goodness at first, like Clement did, but eventually they grow bored. And bored men are dangerous indeed. How long will it take for this master to learn, the Minotaur wonders? It usually starts simple enough. At first, he becomes their plaything, a doll. But it won't stop there. Humans seek new thrills often. Clement was a special case. A man who started out good, but went wild like none before. But yes, there were many masters who had that same seed in them, only it germinated slower. Even Master Jean-Marie had it to an extent. There was that time. Asterion jolts up, stopping himself from progressing down that road. Those are thoughts too dark for such a late hour. And what does it matter now, thinking about the well-buried dead? His mind goes back to the current master. A single good night does not make up for the terrible past and a frightening future. Asterion thinks back to Argos and his contract, and how the master handled it. Master Dirk argued with the snake, tried contesting its terms. The Minotaur knows well the fine balance that comes to the masters. Someone too innocent may be tricked by the snake, but a lord too witty is dangerous in its own right. The hotel has great power, and it's a miracle even the most cruel masters only used it for their own hedonism, as opposed to bringing harm to the world outside. The Minotaur keeps thinking himself to exhaustion, analyzing every possibility regarding this new master. He does not notice drowsiness settling in, nor sleep's merciful embrace. The Minotaur dreams. A field of white flowers swayed under a chilly breeze. He was lying face down on the soil, and the flowers' stalks and leaves tickled his back as if trying to rouse him from sleep. The soil was damp and smelled of petrichor and dense vegetation. Asterion caressed it, scratched it, felt the sand's water seeping into his fur. Everything hurt. With every heartbeat, his head and eyes were hammered. His whole body burned in exhaustion, dizzy and nauseous. But above all, his neck. It burned as if a searing hot metal wire strangled them. The Minotaur tried breathing, but it was as if his lungs couldn't pull away. The Minotaur tried breathing, but it was as if his lungs couldn't pull in any air. It would have made him despair were it not for the overwhelming pain distracting him. Time passed. How long he could not tell. Asterion had only the soil, damp and aromatic, and the flowers swaying above him. He dug into the loamy ground. The coarse texture slipping around his fingers made the pain bearable. And then, A chill ran from his skull down to his spine and to the tip of his tail. He breathed a lungful of air, and he could hear his own ragged grunts of relief. The swaying wind, he could hear it again alongside the rustling leaves. He propped his chest up, supporting himself on his breathing forearms, and taste came back to him. Iron. He coughed in cold. Dark blood poured out of his mouth. It fell on the white fur of his hand. His tongue remained coated in the black oil. It was bitter tasting like a forge's fumes smelled. He knew his scent well. As he tried to gather himself, the blood dripped down to the soil. His fur remained matted with red while the dark oil dripped down. Cursed blood, he thought. But something else came to mind as well. The chill that brought him back. It was under his tongue. A hard, icy lump. He tried to spit out to no avail. His insides lurched and he lost control. He retched, but nothing would come out. It was another hour before he managed to stand up and see the horizon. There was no sky above. It was no man's sky. Only sharp-edged rocks pointing down like knives. The horizon itself was painted with serpentine rivers, their waters crashing around and leaving foamy trails. The land was dark, and yet light seemed to seep from all surfaces. The ceiling stalactites, oh my gosh, the ceiling stalactites shone with turquoise. The feeling of flowers blinked with white lights when the breeze blew by. The soil itself shone with a subdued, almost royal purple. And the breeze had a freshness to it. The river's crashing waters filled the air with little droplets. Water dripped here and there from the ceiling, with an almost lazy grace, like a god slipping gifts to the people below from above. A man waited by the river's shore, looking up to the Minotaur. He beckoned, and right there, Asterian's mind was set at ease. The beautiful land was his mercy. The knot in his throat and the lump under his tongue would be the final pains he'd ever feel. He had been freed. Chapter 5, soft opening. We're gonna start this chapter in the next Minotaur Hotel video, so I'm gonna save here. It's been a while. It's been a long day. We've been going for almost 4 hours. Oh my goodness, this is a long time. Well, we are going to end things here. I'm just going to go back to the title screen. So 3 hours and... end of reading. All right. So, yeah. That is all I really have, other than vote for March, ban this if you haven't. It's due in 3 days. It's gonna be due on Wednesday night. The polls close on Wednesday night, so if you haven't done it already, come on, what are you doing? Do the voting already, gosh darn it. Sorry, I just tried to highlight the link just to paste in the chat, but I keep going crazy with it. My copy and paste is just it'd be going haywire. So that's the best boy category. And the best girl category. Come on. Alright. So yeah, the rankings are also in the description if you want to check how the rankings are doing, so... I'm sweating it with some of my characters, because for Ocean Avenue, so far one character is, like, very safe and really likely to make the bracket, like, in, like, the top 30, 35. But another one of them is, like, on the edge, like, on that 64th edge, and is, like, lost a tiebreaker for it is in 65th. And it's like, oh man, I am scared. And I'm also considering doing the thing like the March Madness bracket does, where they have a first four, where they have like 4 play-in matches for like the lowest seeds. So it might be 68 instead of 64, where the lowest 8 play for those final 4 spots. I'm gonna double check with our committee, I mean. I'm gonna double check with our committee to see how we agree with it and see if we should move forward with it. I'm liking the idea, but I want to make sure that it's not something that is like, you know, too chaotic or crazy. Like, yeah, I'm the head, but you know, I don't want to be like a dictator being like, this is the official rules or whatever. Like, I still want to have at least a vote or a kind of a system or committee, so maybe people can have it going in future years, and I can pass it on to people if I ever retire from it, or, you know, just so it's a very well-organized, structured system, and that not one person's just absolutely ruling over control of it. But yeah, that's something I have in my other window right now. I'm actually remodifying it so that the bracket goes from, like, to the final 4 instead of the elite 8 for, like, the corners. And then once you get to the final 4, it's, like, in the center. Before I did 8, and I don't know, I'd feel like I want it to be a little bit more like March Madness, where it's like you have kind of like little segments of 2 rounds or whatever to get to like the final 4 or whatever. I don't know. I kind of like that format. It makes it so that when I do the preview photos of the brackets and matchups, I only have to have like like at most 2 matches on a single window, and yeah, maybe more of them, but at least there's more room for the characters to shine. So yeah, that's my thing that's been going on. I probably might have to change a rule regarding it, because the Elite 8 is, yeah, probably going to be more of a regional type of round as opposed to a championship round like the Final 4 is. But yeah, man, I'm excited for that. I'm probably going to go to bed soon, so yeah, it's almost midnight here, and my stomach is actually a little bit hungry, despite it being pretty full after dinner earlier. But yeah, other than that, what else can I say? Does Dirk have anything else to say as he types text in the text box? No, I don't, other than if you want to vote for that. Deadline is March 3rd at 9 p.m. That's when the polls close, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then over the course of the next few days, we're going to probably have a meeting on Saturday. I may move it to Tuesday, depending on if I can get all the people in. Get everybody herded up together. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that, and probably right after that we'll start like the first round, whether it is the play-in matches or the actual first round, probably that following week, like maybe around Pi Day. I'm not sure. The crazy thing is that week is going to be my finals week. So it's going to be chaotic if we start that week, but the week before it is kind of my last regular week of school before finals, but even then it's like, it's going to be interesting managing all of it. But I'm looking forward to it nonetheless, and yeah, I'm just so excited to do this again. I'm loving the bracket, and I'm giving a much better vision for it. Like, I want it to be kind of like a visual novel tribute, like honoring our best boys and girls, and maybe someday non-binary if that ever happens. But yeah, like, our best characters from our VNs and kind of giving them a platform to shine and their creators some exposure. I think it's a nice little honoring thing for me. But anyway, that's all I really have to say. I'm probably just gonna go off to bed, maybe get a little snack before I go to bed. I'm tired and hungry, just like Master Dirk in this novel. Anyway, I think I'm done here. Can't wait for the next stream. You and me both, because then I'll be done with school for the week. I'll probably stream again on Thursday or Friday. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care, guys.